It's crazy. Whoa, hola, W streamer. Who's the streamer? Who's the streamer? Hello, soloist. Thank you for the 76 months, brother. I'm eating ramen, chicken. I had chicken left over that I stole from my parents last night and heated up in the air fryer. Got it nice and crispy. And made some ramen. The house didn't pass the bill to ban TikTok, bro. It's so cringe when you guys say that. What they did is actually 1,000 times worse. The bill they're passing is so the president can ban websites and shit that are from like outside countries and nations and things that we are not friendly with. That's like the more general rundown. It's more specific than that, but it's not a TikTok ban. They are bringing back domination. So what? Where? Why? Bitch, where? Bro, Domination is the worst game mode that Smite ever had. What up, Mentos? Like, legitimately the worst game mode of all time in Smite. It basically reduces outside competition. Well, it basically allows them to limit the way information is spread, which is cringe as fuck. Not saying that TikTok has the best information, but any website. Because the thing with big companies is they're always controlled in some way by the government. Or if the company's big enough, they control the government. So, you know, it's definitely not something you want. I'll be honest though. Didn't they confirm yesterday who'd be running for president? Because there's like a 0% chance that Biden wins again. So I think if we do have Trump in office again, then, you know, I don't really see that being an issue. Yeah, there's a 0% chance Biden wins. Hi, Silver. Why must it be those two? Because we haven't put in a fucking law or rule or whatever the fuck it would be to limit the age of people in office. Because whoever the fuck came before us is stupid as shit. Biden breathing is a miracle. Like that, yeah. Yeah. Dude, I love the videos that come up that are like, this isn't even Biden anymore. And like, they show like what his chin used to look like and what it looks like now. And like what his eyes used to look like and what they look like now. This shit is weird. No, guys, I did not. Bro, he got something done. That's for fucking sure. But what, like with his health, I feel like going through plastic surgery would be super unsafe. So I feel like that's not what happened. I feel like it very easily could be makeup and like face tape and shit. Don't get me wrong, but it's fucking wild. What up, Tally? I'm good, man. It's nice outside, so it's always good. Patch notes are in 18 minutes. Your 12-year-old account got hacked. What the fuck was the password? 12345. What up, Jamie? What up, G-Rock? I'm not running for fucking president. I don't see how anyone could enjoy being in like politics or in that kind of position unless they're power hungry, because it's not something like it's not enjoyable. There's a kid that I went to school with, and he's like the second, like I don't know what the fuck it would be, like the assistant to someone pretty high up, not like president or anything, but like pretty high up in like Congress or some shit. And it's just cringe to see the life that they live. Like he lives on social media just posting about his political beliefs all day long. That's it. Nothing else. What's up, Kaizo? Lincoln and Sammy are good. Excuse me. My father is back in the hospital again for some other issues with his medicine once again. So hopefully he gets that figured out now again today. What's up, Kai? Stay for the 4 months. No, I legit think it's like the power that they're given or they feel from having those positions. Because like the kid that is in that position now, he's like 5'5". He tried to play sports, but he was never good. He was always slow. Like he did everything in like slow motion. was never the smartest or like the most popular. He was just, you know, doing his thing, living life, and you can tell it's like he got a taste of some kind of power that he's obsessed with now. It's just weird. He does go viral on social media all the time though. Always political shit, but a lot. Thank you, Darkest. What up, Demonic? Thank you for the 3 months. Both of these. Thank you for the sub. Both of these. The ramen? Here. I have it in Twitch. I'll give it a link. This is by far the best instant ramen. Keep in mind that if I ever see something, I try it. So like we have the Buldak noodles from TikTok and everything. They're shit compared to this ramen. This ramen butchers, slaughters, destroys, claps, fucks, whatever word you want to use. It is by far the best ramen. It's like $3 a bag, which is expensive, but it's bigger, actually has good flavor. It's spicy. It's perfect. What up, Chakra? Thank you for the 7 months. A ramen rating? Nah, dude. Mindy just found this shit. It has to be the black bag. The red bag they have in like stores all the time. The black bag they do not have in stores. It cannot be the cup. It has to be this version of ramen, the black one, in a bag. Do I wear all my shoes? Yes. Some Walmarts will have the black bag, and then some fuck, I forgot the name of the store. It's like the Asian supermarket. Like we have one. I've been there a couple times. They'll have it sometimes, but they have like every ramen in the world. My McLaren is 720. No, it's a 600 LT. It's the 720S and the 600 LT are the same price, but the 720S is less aggressive. The 600 is more of like a track car. The 720 is more of like luxury speed. But my thing was the visuals, like the aggression of the 600 versus 720S is just so different. Badgeless? No. Only badgeless because you guys wouldn't restart your fucking stream. Dicks. What up, Daily? Thank you for the 13. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Prove to use. So Lamborghinis at the same price as my car have like 25 to 30,000 miles. And from what I know from watching like supercar vloggers and shit, that's around where the cars start to have issues. Because when they buy those cars, they fucking, you know, they redo everything in them, right? So they don't give a shit. I wanted something that was like 5 to 10,000 miles that would hold its value because I don't drive it that much. So if I were to buy like a Lamborghini, like a 580 or a 600 LP that wasn't super old, it would have been more. It would have been like 300K. Ferrari is what I really wanted. They hold their value better than any car, and they're fucking awesome. Them shits spiked in price. If I'd have bought my supercar during COVID, I could have got any car I wanted for the same price I paid right now. So that's one thing that I wish I had done. Like a Porsche GT3 RS, which is one of my dream cars, back then was 180 grand. Like I was going to buy one as a second car. And I was like, nah, that's just stupid. I don't drive enough. And now they're like fucking $400,000 to $500,000. Any tips for beginners? Pick a role you like, both of these, and play the top 2 gods in that role over and over again. Also, I wasn't looking at new cars. I was looking at used cars. There's no way. No way. The price is just crazy high. I was looking at an STO. STOs are one of like a car I really fucking like. A Senna and an STO are like my dream cars. Saffir, what the fuck is that? Top 2 jungles right now.
What's up, weekend?
I'd probably play Thanatos. But and then for a new player, I wouldn't say Susano for a new player. I'd honestly probably say Mercury for a new player. What do you mean, Shmeep? In fucking, what's it called? In Epoch? First car I ever drove, Suburban. 2004 Suburban Z71. And then I ended up driving that car for like to drive to school. It's like my main car. I'd get pulled over all the time in the middle of the night. Because it was all black and they think I was selling drugs or something. I got pulled over like 3 or 4 times. I talk about it on stream. I get pulled over. They'd say the same thing every time. They'd make up something like your lights out, which it never was. And they'd be like, where are you going? Home or, wherever. Where are you coming from? Movies or wherever I was coming from. Can we search the car? Sure. As soon as I say sure, they're like, never mind. Have fun. Every time. Every single fucking time. And then I got pulled over in college once driving the Camry, which was my dad's car, but like it was my car. And it was under his business. So they pulled me over. He said I was being weird, which I didn't understand. Like I left the campus and was going to my dorm. Like it was like a 2-minute drive. And I was right out front of my dorm where he pulled me over. And he's like, registration. I gave it to him. And it was an old registration, like a year old. He didn't even look at the date. He looked that it had my dad's business name on it, handed it back to me and said, go ahead. Didn't ask any questions. I have Stallone, yeah, I have. What do you plan to fully move to Smite 2 when it full releases? Like when it's playable every day, all day? Smite 1 will be like it'll exist, but nobody will be on it once the game fully drops. What up, Fad? Your favorite is Scotty. She sucks, but you go ability, Scotty. You go Bluestone, you go Transcendence, Jotuns. You can go Brawlers, you can go Heartseeker, you go Titan's Bane. Smarty's model is kind of big. I know he should knock all enemies up when he lands. No. I've not given away the Smite 2 key yet. Nope. I'm going to do it as a sub goal, or I'm going to give it to one of my friends. Like that's how it's going to work. I've had a couple of my friends ask if I get another one, if they can have it. So. Crusher back item now? Back item? Bad item? It's not bad. It's just not as good as you would think. Do you think Hi-Rez will try and have big streamers do sponsored streams for Smite 2? I think it's a waste of their money. I think it's proven that it's a waste of their money. I think if their person in charge of marketing is intelligent, they've realized it's a waste of their money. You don't pool big streamers are never going to stream Smite full time or like regularly. It's not going to happen. The game isn't big enough. It just, unless they love the game, which they don't. They like it. All of them like it, but not more than their main games, right? If Hi-Rez is smart, they're smart, they'll target the games that they pull from, and they're like mid-sized streamers that they think they could actually pull over regularly and have their player bases play the game more often. Like your League of Legends streamers that are like sub 5k viewers, your maybe even your WoW streamers that are sub like 5k viewers, 4k viewers. There you go, Tempo. That's awesome. Trying to rank up as a support main, play with someone else, like have a duo queue. It doesn't have to be the best player. It just has to be someone that's consistent. So that removes the chance of you having a shitter on your team. People don't realize that. Like, this isn't even in targeting any of my viewers or anybody, but I'd rather play with most of my viewers that are at that bracket because I know they're gonna try to win. They might fuck up, they might, you know, do something wrong, whatever. I'll tell them and we'll move on. But having that is 1,000 times better than the chance of having that dude that fucks around, picks a dumb pick he doesn't know how to play, trolls, whatever. There's a lot of big streamers that are going to play Smite 2 without them paying. So if they pay them, I think they're stupid. I think everyone who knows about Smite and played Smite when it first came out is going to play Smite 2. And a lot of them are big streamers nowadays. None of them will play the game regularly. They'll try it out. They'll have some fun. Maybe they'll do maybe their casual game or whatever. Like Summit played Smite every night for like a week. But he was doing like threes. He was doing joust and shit, that's just not fun. Where do you look for a duo queue? While you're playing, somebody that's good and wants to play with you, you know, streams, discords. We were counter building in Smite 2. I don't know about more. It'll be different. Is conduit start for Guardian solo a big thing? Yeah, it is, because it gives you clear, like guaranteed clear. When they gave Tim a skin in DKO, yeah, I'm telling you,
Anyway,
whoever runs the marketing on a lot of these things for high res, they're just following like the trend of what everyone else does. It's like there's no research. At least that's what, from an outside perspective, it looks like there's no research. Because even if you look back to, say, the Mizkif tournament, that was over the course of a month. The player base did not increase at a above regular rate. Like it wasn't like, oh, look, they're promoting the hundreds of thousands of people, now we're seeing an increase. That didn't happen. Same with the VTuber shit. The player base didn't spike a crazy amount. It probably went up because it pretty much has to. It would make no sense for it not to go up a little bit. But then you have to start talking about how much you paid versus how much you're getting. They definitely have a dollar to person ratio. Like, you know, every person who downloads Smite and plays Smite spends X amount of money. Obviously, every single one doesn't do it, but it's calculated that way. Out of 20 people, there's X amount of dollars made, so each person is worth X amount of dollars. That's how they should be doing. I'd assume they're doing it. If they don't have those analytics and don't use them, I think they're fucking stupid. If they do use them, good. But from looking at numbers, it just doesn't make any sense. It makes zero sense. I have no idea why their stream is not up yet, by the way. It's kind of weird. Usually it's up like way before now. So I like The Walking Dead. The first couple of seasons, then it got kind of weird and like just not hype. Like none of the stuff that was happening was exciting, I felt like. I saw the keyboard glove. I'm not buying it. I know, dude, crit Arthur. That was a long time ago. It's up on your end? What the fuck? Did I get trolled? Oh yeah, it is. The person before them closed the stream down and then it just didn't reopen. Thank you. Still playing last epoch? Yeah, dude. I've been farming gear on my level 100 for like a week and I've gotten nothing. I have all like 1 LP gear with the rolls I want, but I can't get any 2 or 3 LP gear. And it makes me, I already started a new character because it's fucking boring. The longest I played that style of game? No. I played so I played Diablo 2 when I was little. Who knows how fucking much? Probably not as much as I've even played this shit. I played Path of Exile. I played Diablo 3 as well, but I didn't like it. I played it like I maxed out level and then didn't like it. Path of Exile, I've played like 10 to like 12 of their seasons. Hello, Andy. Yeah, so I've played those games a lot. With PoE, I just copy a build of someone who plays the game a lot. With this game, I looked up a build and then like started doing my own thing and then looked up another build and then ended up taking that one on. It's Elliot. Yeah, dude, he went to delete his secondary character and deleted his main character. And I don't think they gave him his character back either.
Helldivers 2?
I am not playing Helldivers 2. I actually watched some more of it last night. Wait, they already have patch notes up? All right, we got 20 seconds. Let me do a quick skim. Oh my. All right. Wait, what the heck? There we go.
So time is flying, Smite is changing, and things are getting better and better every day. I'm joined here by two wonderful people, somebody you recognize and somebody I may not have never had on one of my update shows anyway. We have Lermy and Kilgoon. How are y'all doing?
Bro, there are so many changes in this
Super
patch.
excited to have y'all here. We have a lot to talk about.
I don't know how good they are, but
big day. Big day, very big day. And obviously there's a lot of Smite 1 to talk about, but I have been given the unique honor to talk a little bit about Smite 2 stuff to kick the show off. More specifically, and this is a cool announcement I'm so hyped they let me make, we have Smite 2 Founders Editions coming soon. This is huge. We're getting to the point now where we're going to be able to start letting y'all get into Smite 2. It's getting closer, you know, not quite there yet. It's coming soon, but Founders Editions are on the way, and
it's going to be end of April is my guess.
One of the reasons we brought Kilgoon or Alex.
I bet you end of April, you can buy the Founders to play the Alpha.
So, Founders Editions, right?
Yeah. Y'all might have seen me on stage at SWC talking a little bit about Smite 2. I'm the executive producer of Smite, if you don't know me. And normally I'm working during the update shows, but today I'm working by being on the update show. I think since we announced Smite 2, the response has just been amazing. People are so excited. I have people in my tweets and DMs all the time asking me, hey, can I get into these like small tests that we see that you're doing? But really, like, the game hasn't been ready for a wider audience to do it, right? Like, it's fun to play a couple games, but we know that there are some key areas that we needed to fix.
A lot.
But we're starting to get to the point where we think that the game is ready for a bigger audience to start doing some alpha testing, which is why we're going to have these Founders Editions available for you to purchase soon. We're saying soon, we aren't giving you an exact date because we still need to get through some certification on the console side. There's a few other things that we need to get polished up, but please do stay tuned. It's coming really soon, hopefully, and you'll be able to get your hands on it at home. So
yeah,
maybe the end of this month
really
if they're just waiting on certs.
A plethora of things, not the least of which is access to these early alpha tests we're talking about. And you know, I always like to tell y'all how invaluable y'all are to us. I mean, we're here in the 11th year working on the second game because the community has stuck around and helped us figure things out and helped us just get through these crazy years. And we need you more than ever now as we get towards this. Once Founders Editions go on sale, if you're interested in helping Smite 2 be the best it can be, we're going to need y'all to pick that up, hop in these early alpha tests, and help us make it the best game possible. Y'all will be giving us feedback during this super early stage, super early developmental period of Smite 2. And I tell you what, our teams pour over that. It's like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Every time they get feedback and the forums come back, they're like, all right, this is what we need to be looking at. How do we make the game better compared to how it was yesterday even? So super excited about all of that. And I mean, I guess it's worth talking about what's in each of these editions, huh?
Yes, it is.
All right, well, let's get into it. So there are 3 Founders Editions that will be available. First up, Standard Founders Edition. Now, don't let the word standard mislead you. It's anything but. There's a lot of cool stuff right off the bat with that. So first off, you're going to be getting access to the, guaranteed access to those alpha test weekends that we host in the future. Again, we don't got hard dates for y'all right now. Game design is an ebb and flow process, but we're really trying to get there because we are so excited to let y'all in. But it guarantees you access for the platform that you purchase on. This will be available on your favorite platforms. We have Epic Games, we have Steam, we have PlayStation, Xbox. So if you have a preferred platform, pick this up on there. And for the alpha test, these early tests, you will be able to use that platform to get into the tests. Obviously, the game will be available. You can play it on whatever platform you want when the game goes live down the road. But for these alpha tests, just note, whatever platform you purchase the Founders Edition on, whichever one, will be the platform that you're playing on. Just an important note. But that's not all. That's just the first part of it. Secondly, you're going to get all Smite 2 Gods Forever. That's the God Pack.
Yep.
That's the Smite 2 God Pack. That's huge.
Yep. And coming to the idea of should we do a God Pack for Smite 2?
Yeah.
It sounds really obvious, but we talked about this for weeks because if you look at the way every other game does it nowadays, right? It's, we're going to charge you $30 for 5 or 10 characters,
Yeah.
But we looked at all these different options and we were like, man, these all just kind of feel crappy, right?
Yeah.
And the only way that we can make this feel awesome, and Smite 2, our big thing has been strictly better.
Yeah.
How can we make this feel like at least strictly as good and hopefully better than Smite 1? It's like, okay, well, we got to give you all.
I was
Smite
worried
2
they
gods
weren't
forever
going to do the
if you buy
God
base
Pass,
Founders
by the
Edition.
way.
And
I'm
it's
pretty
gotta
sure it
be
was
30
close
bucks,
to
same
not
price
being the
as
God Pass.
Smite 1 Ultimate God Pack.
Yeah.
So $30, you get all Smite 2 gods forever. You get access during the alpha weekends, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute, and you get this other stuff too.
Yeah, well,
That
okay,
God
so to finish
Pass,
that
by
out,
the
you
way,
also get a
by everyone
Founders
outside of
Avatar,
Smite, says
slash
it's the
badge, and
best
title.
gaming
So you get the
value,
cool stuff
like,
to show off you were one
thing
of the
there
founders
is.
for Smite 2, and the Smite
For
2
any game.
Cacodemon 2 Ymir skin. So for those of you who are longtime fans of Smite, that was a skin that you got when Smite 1 was in its infancy. And now if you get this first level of the Founders Edition of Smite 2, you'll be getting the Cacodemon 2 Ymir skin as kind of a celebratory upgrade to a fan favorite. And also, now this one's pretty spicy. We've talked about legacy gems a lot. Legacy gems, for those of you who aren't initiated to the knowledge, we're giving you every gem you have ever spent in Smite over your entire Smite career back as legacy gems. Good for 50% off of qualifying purchases in Smite 2, of which there will be plenty. But we were like, what more can we do to tell the community that we love them and to thank them
Bro,
for their
I'm about to
support
have,
over all
like,
these years and
8
moving into
million
Smite 2
legacy
Founders Edition
gems.
release phase. How about we just double the legacy gems? How about you just get 2 times the amount of legacy gems? And that's crazy.
Yeah, so legacy gems, just a little bit, if you haven't been following along for how they work. So almost every purchase in Smite 2, you're going to be able to pay for 50% of the purchase with legacy gems. Some things you'll be able to pay 100% with legacy gems. So things like skins that we have ported directly from Smite 1 to Smite 2.
Like 20
classic
million,
skins or
maybe.
something like that.
Yeah.
There will be some things that you won't be able to use legacy gems on. The only thing that we've currently identified that wouldn't be eligible would be crossover skins, because those have business agreements to go around with them, and we have to give a percentage of the proceeds to the company. So just unfortunately, that's the way that would work.
Yeah,
but this is you getting the money. One thing that why we are doubling them here is because the way that currency works in Smite 2 is going to change a little bit.
Okay.
And by doubling them, it guarantees you're going to get the exact same purchasing power that you had for your gems in Smite 1. So.
Yeah.
You know, you're not losing out at all. We're not trying to be sneaky, even though we're changing the way that currency works a little bit in Smite 2.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's double, you know? Like, legacy gems is a really cool thing, and obviously bias standpoint, right? I work for the company, but like objectively speaking, that's a cool thing. I've never seen anything like that. And then they were like, oh yeah, we're just gonna double them if people want to buy the Founders Edition. I'm like, okay. That's crazy. 50 plus 50, that's 100%. I don't know, man. It's a lot of mental math I'm not going to break into, but it's super cool.
Yeah.
And that's just the basic Founders.
It's just the basic Founders Edition. And real quick, if I can just,
Please.
one thing about Alpha before we move on.
Dive in.
So this Alpha will be a real Alpha. You know, this is not a marketing Alpha. The game is not done. We have a long way to go. What we're planning and the way we're planning to roll this game out is that we're going to do one weekend a month where the game is available to play in Alpha.
Yeah.
Because we really want your feedback, like Dandy was saying. We want to know what's working, what doesn't working. Are you liking some of the changes that we're making? Where are the areas the game still needs to improve? And then we're going to work our asses off for a month to make the game better. And then we're going to open it up for another alpha weekend.
Yeah.
Right? And the game is going to keep evolving. It's going to keep growing. In the first alpha weekend, we're currently targeting about 11 gods. So not even a very large roster, because we want you to focus on the gameplay, on the new systems, on the things that are there, so that we can make sure we're building the right game before we finalize a bunch of gods that are going in the wrong direction, for example, right? So we're going to be running a number of these alpha playtests, and then eventually we'll go into a 24/7 beta period. But if you want guaranteed access to the very first alpha, the way to do that is to buy one of these Founders Editions.
Yeah.
If you have registered for alpha access already, don't worry. We're going to be sending everybody alpha codes eventually, but you may not get a code at the very first weekend, just because we're trying to make sure we don't throw too many people at the game in the first week.
Yeah.
You know, the first week, honestly, there may be some technical issues with the servers, right? There's a lot to work through.
Yeah,
so we're going to roll those codes out gradually. You will get a code. We aren't forgetting about you. But if you want to be sure that you get to play in the first week, that's the way that you can do it.
Yeah. Also, asterisk, to go back to that Cacodemon skin, that's an alpha. That's a pre-order the Founders Pack during the alpha phase type thing. That's not going to last forever. We wanted to honor the lore of the Cacodemon Ymir skin. So you're only going to get that if you're getting that Founders Pack early before we get into these alpha, or before we get out of the alpha stage. But I mean, like you said, it's not a marketing alpha. This is a true alpha. Like we want the veterans to come into these alpha tests and tell us the granular information, like auto attack desync, and we want the microsecond plays. We want y'all to tell us, does that feel good or bad? We want the new players to come in who have never played Smite before and just tell us from a high level perspective, are you having fun as a player? Like, that is all super valuable, and that's why we want to get the floodgates open as soon as we can to everybody for this very much an alpha game, is because it's a lot of fun already. We've gotten great feedback from the people we're already working with, but the more the merrier, and we're excited to get people in for that.
Definitely.
So we went over the standard Founders Edition. My voice I went through puberty right there. Now we have 2 other versions to talk about. So next up, the Deluxe Founders Edition. Bear in mind, you will get everything that we had just talked about. So all of that stuff we just talked about included in this one, with the addition of a new cross-gen Night Stalker Neath skin. So this is a cool Neath skin that we're excited. I believe we have the card art for it that we can show off as well. And but that will come with this. It's cross-gen. So you'll be able to play it in Smite 1 and Smite 2. There it is right there. So that's the new Neath skin. She is pretty.
It looks like
you will get
dodgy
this,
card art.
as soon as they're available. As soon as you buy the Founders Edition, you'll get it in Smite 1, and then you'll be able to play with it in Smite 2 during the alpha weekends.
Yeah. Ooh, and there's a Smite 2 render for this too as well, because it's going to be in both. So.
Oh wow, dude,
Yeah.
that skin's sick.
Neath showing up and showing out in Smite too. So again, as soon as these Founders Editions are available, you'll be able to grab, if you get the Deluxe Edition, you will have the skin right away in Smite 1. You can use it as long as you want, and as soon as Smite 2 hits, you'll be using it there as well.
Yep.
So on top of that, the Deluxe Edition also comes with Ascension passes for the first 11 Alpha launch gods. So Ascension passes, new term there.
Yeah.
How about you explain what an Ascension pass is?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing that we talked about during the keynote was that progression in Smite 1 is kind of underwhelming at times, right?
Okay, yeah.
So one of the areas that we've identified as a key area for improvement is God mastery. So everybody loves mastering gods. I love the numbies going up. I love my stars.
Stars.
Every god starred, right here.
Really,
Or
Hermie,
diamond.
you like getting all the okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm working through the stars right now. Don't worry.
I've seen it. I follow the Twitter threads.
It's a great system, and we don't want to throw that away, right? You're still going to master your gods. You're still going to level them up. But the problem is, as you're mastering your gods in Smite 1, you don't really get anything. There's not really any incentive to be playing the god or feeling like I'm being rewarded other than seeing my numbers going up and getting the stars.
Yeah.
The only thing that happens is you get the opportunity to purchase 3 mastery skins. And what we found is that most people don't buy those and they don't really use them. So we wanted to overhaul the way that god mastery works in Smite 2.
Okay.
So basically, we aren't really ready to talk about all of the details of this today, but I'm just going to give you kind of the overview. As you're mastering your god, you're going to get rewards for free just unlocked at every level. And if you have an Ascension Pass, there will be additional rewards that you will unlock at every level. So you'll get extra skins, you'll get, I don't know if I can spoil it yet, but stat trackers.
Ooh.
Pretty exciting. I know
that's
something
big.
people have wanted for a long time.
Big.
You'll get a lot of stuff that you maybe would have had to purchase in other areas of Smite, all themed to that god.
Yeah.
So if you like a god, it lets you just get more content for the god by playing it. And the one other thing I'll say that, we're still finalizing the system, but the current plan is that the first couple mastery levels in Smite 2 will probably go a little bit quicker than they go in Smite 1, so that you can get access to more of this free stuff or stuff in the Ascension Pass more quickly.
Yeah.
But it'll take the same amount of time to get to rank 10 and same amount of time to get stars. Like, the idea isn't we're changing that.
Yeah.
It's just the first few levels might go a little quicker so that you feel like you're making more progress and getting value out of it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's cool. I love that kind of thing. I love being able to see the stats, especially for the characters I love the most. I love knowing, and being able to flex, I mean, this is how good I am at this. I don't know about y'all, but so that's really cool. So that's going to be, those are the 2 extra things you're going to get with the Deluxe Edition if you upgrade from that standard. So you'll get Ascension passes for 11 of the Alpha launch weekend gods, and then that new skin that we showed you.
Oh, I don't think we mentioned the price. So this, I believe, will be
play it on me.
$60. So the base edition's $30.
Got it.
This edition is $60.
Got it. All right. So then that leaves us with 1 edition remaining. We have the Ultimate Founders Edition. And that will have everything we just talked about. So, can go down the 2 levels above, I guess, and you'll get both of those. And then you've come to the bottom. You've come to the final one, the master of them all. And with this one, you're going to get an Ultimate Edition avatar badge title. To showcase, I wanted this game. I was here. I am the ultimate of the Founder Edition owners. And on top of that, you'll get an Ascension Pass for 23, I believe it is, gods.
I believe that's correct.
So that is,
Nice.
yeah, that's a lot. So 23 gods worth of Ascension tracking and all that cool stuff we talked about. And then, and this one's really, I'm really hyped for this one. We have the first Tier 5 Smite 2 skin will be available with the Ultimate Founders Edition. So I'm building in the hype with pauses. And it's going to be a Zeus skin. Super. We have the card art here. We can show you. So this is the Fallen Zeus.
This theme is just so cool. Zeus, you know, traditionally has a shield.
All right, did I see Zeus
Shield
tier 5
is
skin?
on. We've got sword, we've got axe, and we've got giant.
Was that from
giga fists. So cool.
the founders
Yeah,
pack?
absolutely incredible. And it bears mentioning, first T5 in Smite 2, and that means a couple things. First of all, it means that we wanted to go back to kind of the beginning of T5.
Is this gonna be Thor? It's gonna be like Thor. It's an evolution.
Here, you know, there's
You got
three different
evolution
versions. We're
1,
going back to
2,
the
and
classic
3.
Tier
This
5
is dog
mechanic
shit.
Of watching
This is
a skin
okay. This is
evolve
dope.
as you level throughout the game.
It's just like Thor.
It's one of the classic. It's just classic Tier 5. You know, it's part of what made them as cool as they are. But what that also means is that we're starting to develop some of this tech in Smite 2.
These abilities are gonna look
Tier 5
fucking
technology,
crazy
the skin
though
technology
in
doesn't exist
Smite
yet.
2.
We haven't made it. We're building Smite 2 from
Crazy.
the ground up. So us having created this means that we
this
have
skin
made
is
the
gonna
first
reach
ever
out of the
in
screen
Smite
and
2 art
slap your
pipeline
opponent in the face.
Tier 5 skin with all new tech, all new everything. And it is a cross-gen skin. We made it in that pipeline we designed for cross-gen skins. So the moment that you purchase the Ultimate Founders Edition of Smite 2, you will be able to play this right away in Smite 1, and it will be waiting for you in Smite 2, looking beautiful just like this.
Yeah, so this is the first level of the skins. So when you start playing, you're gonna look like Zaddy Zeus here, ready to go to work.
Why's he got a random sword?
It's kind of like, you know, demonic.
Yeah.
But like, there's something beneath the surface there.
That
but he's
sword
kind of
must
a
not
dapper
supposed to be
dude,
in there.
like,
It must be a
He's definitely,
placeholder
like, got this kind
for
of
like his shield. Wait,
businessman vibe about
unless
him,
he
but
throws
he's
the
a little,
sword
like,
instead of the
edgy
shield?
At the same time, you know what I mean? He's like dabbling in the dark arts, and you know, he might be looking for more power.
Yeah, I super agree. Then you move forward, and that power is starting to come to the surface a little bit. You got you got the horns, the business uniform is starting to get torn away, and he's just buff, dude. Like, Zeus,
That is one buff Zeus.
that is one buff Zeus. Homeboy got the summer bod ready.
Yeah, I think that's like a 12 pack, maybe. I don't know.
Wait, now he has an axe.
It's yeah.
What the fuck
Yeah,
is
and he's
going
got a new
on?
weapon too, which I think is really cool. The fact that he's like got all of this like gold, like jewelry and adornments and stuff is really awesome. And you can see kind of like the chains are breaking, and he's slowly gaining all of this power. And you know, Form 2 is pretty cool, but I'm excited to see.
But
what-
really,
Form 3.
it's all about Form 3,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
There it is, dude.
That's
The
dope.
wing gauntlets are incredible to look at.
The silhouette really like changes quite a bit between each piece, but it still feels like a very magical character throughout the whole thing. And the weapons, I think, is
gauntlets
really
are
the biggest deal
fucking
for me,
sick.
because like just having these like giant magical fists alongside you is so cool.
It completely is. I don't know. I'm lost for words. And
I don't know if you said this out loud, but this is a cross-gen skin. So you'll get this
Yeah.
skin in Smite 1 and in Smite 2
Yep.
if you buy the Ultimate Edition Founders Pack.
yeah, you'll be able to play it
Bro,
right
I'm buying
away.
the
moment that you
ultimate
purchase in
super
Smite 1,
ultra
and then when Smite
fucking
2
Founders
hits, you're
Pack.
gonna have a tier 5 in the pocket, ready to load up and try out. And if you think that these renders from Smite 2 are beautiful, seeing them in live action, seeing the ultimate rain down from above, it just, if y'all have kept up with some of the deep dives we've been doing, y'all will be as hype as I am to see this live in action. Even if he's ulting you and you're being dominant, you know, it's still nice to look at least. So let's go ahead and check this out in game in Smite 1. In Smite 1. Smite 2, y'all have to see for yourself.
Oh, this is the VXG.
That's cool.
Yeah, dude.
A weapon like spiraling.
Pay
around,
attention to the
too.
abilities if they
He's
show the
still throwing
abilities,
around
guys.
his lightning bolt as per usual. And you can
Yeah,
see
the audio
here,
sounds like shit.
when he throws out his shield, it is really just whatever weapon he's got equipped at the time. So Form 1's got the sword, and then of course calling down the magical
Okay, wait.
lightning storm of purple.
His abilities
epic
look cool.
lightning.
Yeah,
But,
I
like,
like the wispy black.
not as cool as
trail
they
that
should,
comes
unless
off
but
of
we're
the
not on the tier
lightning
5 yet,
strike,
or
and it
the
just sits there
max
for
tier
a
5, I
while,
guess.
lingers. It's a really cool after effect.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the thing about these evolving tier 5s, like, I love them. They're kind of nostalgic for me. You know, I remember buying tier 5 Thanatos before I worked here. And, you know, the first form is always like okay, that's cool, but what's next?
Yeah.
Right. So tier 2 or form 2 here, you know, you got the bigger axe floating there. You know, you're starting to see a little bit more of his power come out, and like, I don't know, it's starting to come to life, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's like got like the power pose going on here. He's got a little extra like lightning effect going on as well. It's really, really sick.
Yeah, that weapon spiraling around is still as threatening. Went from giant sword to giant axe staff. It's just, and it's so cool that the weapon, like the actual model of what your shield is, changes as the skin evolves.
I also want to give a huge shout to the audio department, specifically for the 3. You know, doing detonate as Zeus is really cool, but having to snap,
Yeah.
that feels like next level for Zeus players.
That's awesome. And again, it's cool watching the evolution of the skins.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or does that ult look more grand too?
That's weird.
Everything gets a little cooler at every level. Right?
Yeah. Because I don't remember all of the structure around it for the first one. So
Yeah, I mean, when you're becoming a god.
I don't know,
you
bro.
start to
For
get
a
little
tier
bit-
5 skin, I
There
always
are
expect the abilities to be
perks
cooler than this.
Oh yeah.
awesome.
It's
We
too
got one
basic.
more form to see. Let's check out the third and final.
Like,
form.
this is why Ull's tier 5 is the best tier 5 in the game,
Yeah,
because its
dude.
abilities actually look
this,
dope.
this final form is just, it's so cool. Like, when we were running playtests with this skin, we were like, okay, this is cool, and then you get to the final form, and everybody's like, holy, like, this is cool.
The hands are dope.
Like watching the weapon hands track his actual hands is crazy. Like they're extensions of the character model. It's just wild to look at. He has the full power stance. Oh, now it's like a glaive too.
Yeah, he like turns the fist into a glaive. They're actually just like this big transforming piece of metal
Yeah.
that like forms to whatever his need may be, and in that instance, he's throwing it out like a weapon.
Yeah, and I just realized too, it's gone when he does that. You know,
Yeah.
like attention to detail. Oh yeah, and see now there's those additional.
That's
tiers on
better.
top of the
That's
ult
what I
as well.
expected.
Now that's an all.
Yeah, now that's an ult.
That's
a
what
proper
I
god
fucking
ult right
expected.
there.
And the snap,
That's sick.
the snap, dude, I can't get over it. It's so cool. Guys, don't look at explosions.
It really is.
How?
Man, so super incredible to look at. And again, this is the ultimate Founders Edition. You get that. This will be waiting for you in all of its glory in Smite 2, and will be ready for you to hop in and start using right away, moment you purchase in Smite 1. So, as well as all of the other things we mentioned. So that's alpha access on your on the platform you purchase it on. That's double the legacy gems. You have the Neath skin. You have the Ascension path. It's just so many things.
Kakademon and Amir.
Man, and I don't know. I could talk about this all day, but then we wouldn't have time for the rest of the show, and that would make me sad. So get ready for those. They're coming soon. Again, we don't have a hard date for you right now, but they're on the way, and it's just.
Bro, they haven't
we're
even
excited
started the
about
patch
that.
notes yet.
I don't know what else to say. I walk around the office. I talk to people all the time, and everybody's
22 minutes
working
in,
so
and they
hard
haven't started
to,
the
like,
patch
make
notes
this
yet.
the best thing ever. So
And just a couple quick things before we move on.
Yeah, please.
Just keep in mind, when you're looking for these on the storefronts when they are available, right, you will have to go to Smite 2. You will not, like, if you go to the Smite 1 DLC, it won't be there. So you'll go to Smite 2, you'll pre-order these Founders Editions, and then you'll get all the content instantly in Smite 1, and then when it's available in Smite 2.
Yeah.
And don't forget, if you want to take advantage of the Divine Legacy and
This
Legacy
makes me
gems and all
think
that,
that this Founders
make sure
pack
that
comes
you
before the
are
next
linking
patch.
in-game in Smite 1
So
on the platform.
I'd assume
that
we'll
you
see
want-
it in the
you want
next
to play
29
on.
days.
It's very important because of the way cross progression works. Basically, like, you're going to set a primary platform on Smite 2, and then everything else will be linked to that. So you want to make sure that you're clicking link in-game on the platform that you want to play Smite 2 on as your primary account.
Yeah.
So if you,
I think all that's
if you're an
$30,
Xbox
right?
Guy,
No, that's the higher version. I don't know how much the higher version is. For the tier 5.
And I think that's
The base
everything that
Founders
I
is
wanted to
30.
talk
I think
about.
they said. I don't know what the higher version costs.
Ultimate Edition is
60?
Go for it.
So $99.99. So it's 30
it's
bucks,
100. There you
60
go.
bucks,
There you
100
go.
bucks are the 3 different levels of the Founders Pack.
Scaling. Yeah, it's a logical scaling.
Like
And
the
again,
ultimate Founders pack or something.
counts. That's important. That's so important. We've been talking about
30,
legacy gems.
60,
I've
100.
been nailing it into y'all every single time. And
A
that's
night with
super
me for
important because
60?
you have
That's all
so
you'd
many
spend?
rewards you can get just by getting
Oh, that's
these accounts
fucked.
linked up. So please,
Not
friends,
even 100.
someone link those
Not even
accounts,
101.
all that stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna quit blabbing. I just talked about a lot of stuff. How about we get a recap of all of the amazing stuff I just talked about
No.
in a quick video, real?
Here
at Titan Forge, we've been working really hard on Smite 2, and we're very excited to get the Founders Pack into you guys' hands.
The Founders Packs are your guaranteed way to get in and participate in our Alpha Weekend playtest.
We'll be doing weekend tests following the release of the Founders Pack, and those who purchase the Founders Pack will then have access to all of those Alpha Weekend tests before we go to beta.
This is your chance to get into the battleground early, see what Smite 2 is like, and give us all of your feedback while you play.
There are 3 ways to become a founder: the Founders Edition, the Deluxe Founders Edition, and the Ultimate Founders Edition. Plus, pre-order any pack before the alpha ends to get the Cacodemon Ymir skin. The Founders Edition pack gives you full game access, all Smite 2 gods forever, a unique Founders avatar and badge, and 2 times Legacy gems. The Deluxe pack includes all of that, plus the cross-gen Night Stalker Neath skin, and Ascension passes for 11 Alpha Launch Weekend gods. And the Ultimate Edition offers all Deluxe Edition features, along with Tier 5 cross-gen The Fallen Zeus skin, Ultimate Edition avatar, badge, and title, and Ascension passes for 23 Alpha gods.
We wanted the Ultimate Founders Packs to be really exciting, so we've included Smite 2's first ever Tier 5 skin for Zeus.
This Zeus skin, by the way, is cross-gen, which is pretty dope, and it looks amazing.
It was really important for us to find ways to reward our Smite 1 players, so all Smite players will get Legacy Gems in Smite 2, but Founders Pack purchasers will actually get double their Legacy Gems in Smite 2.
If you buy the Founders Pack before beta releases, you get Cacodemon Ymir again for Smite 2, and it's gonna be amazing!
Another benefit to purchasing the Deluxe and Ultimate Editions is access to the Ascension system. It's a reimagining of the God Mastery system that we had in Smite 1, and we're excited for players to get to master gods in new and exciting ways in both of those systems.
The team has been working so hard, and we can't wait to get it in your hands. We'll see you on the battleground. In Smite 2.
Fuck yeah.
Man, they said all of that really well. I feel like I just finished talking about that, and I was like, man, they said that so well. They could do this. They're amazing. I love everybody I work with. Anyway, welcome back. Super excited. We've talked about Smite 2, but there's still plenty of Smite 1 to go over, and trust me, we got some crazy stuff here today. So I'm joined by a familiar face and a new face on the couch since the last 5 minutes, and that's Lermy and Chaos. So, hello, welcome aboard, Chaos. Yeah. So, y'all excited to talk about some stuff here in a minute?
Dude, unbelievably excited. I've been excited for weeks. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I've been, every time you tweeted about it, I was like, I know. I can't.
I was on vacation. I was thinking about it. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's hard to not when you're just so excited about everything coming towards the game.
Oh, I am excited to give y'all the chance to talk about it, but we have a few more things to go through. I know y'all are gonna get sick of me talking. But let's do some news real quick. So y'all got all the big news right up front. We have some other really cool stuff in the works as well. You might have remembered me talking about the Content Creator Cup. So that will be continuing. It's still going. Actually, signups for NA are going through tomorrow, and we have some matches this weekend. So if you're interested, make sure you're hitting those signups. Grab your community, get in here, and strut your Smite, because we have opportunities for people to do so, and we're excited for y'all to come in this weekend and watch NA. EU, don't worry, we haven't forgot about y'all. Signups are going strong for y'all as well, and your matches will be coming next weekend. So still got some time if you're over on the EU side of things to get brought in, but it's been going strong. It's been fun to see everybody show up and show off, and we hope that y'all are as excited as we have been and continue to come in and just put on some really good matches. So super cool stuff there. But now we're diving into some of the content of Smite 1's update.
They did fun, yeah.
First up, we have a calendar celebration event that we're excited to talk about. So y'all should be familiar with these if you're longtime Smite fans, but if not, essentially it's just a big old celebration event. It's a bunch of free stuff for y'all from us. There will be a big old calendar when you log in on the event page, and every single day that you play Smite, you'll earn a free reward. Now be warned, that award is only available on the day that it is shown. You log in, it says this is today's reward. That's it. That's for that day. So make sure you earn it and log in tomorrow to earn the next one. Because if you earn 6 of these, you're going to get a free skin, the Embalmed Anubis skin. We have the card art right here for you.
Ooh, Bro, this is a nice recolor for Anubis. I love the like purple and the teal going on. I think it's a really good combo of colors, you might say.
Yeah, I like where they, when you apply like a bright palette to a character that otherwise has a dark palette, or even do the inverse. I really liked seeing this on Anubis.
Yeah, it brings out some aspects.
Hearing
that didn't
Chaos
pop in
talk
the
is
original.
like,
and he's really bright.
He's really bright.
Yeah.
It's
Like it reminds
music,
you of Mastery
bro.
Skin almost, with how like
He
how
used
powered
real
up and
words
glowy and
other
bright
than
it
the
is.
same shit every
Now, something
fucking
crazy
week for the
about
last 10
this,
years.
and uncharacteristic. This is actually a rare exception to a system.
This skin
It's a
sucks,
cross-gen
by the way.
system. This is a cross-gen skin. It's a free cross-gen
Ooh.
skin.
This skin is
So
ass.
if you earn 6 of those rewards, then you'll get this this wonderful skin for free in Smite 1 and Smite 2. And we have a Smite 2 render here to show you that we ain't fooling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. The
Dude,
definition of the muscles in Smite 2 is nuts.
It is very incredible. Just
is.
The
I
skin is
talked about it a
ass.
lot the last
Even
time.
for
that
a
we talked
recolor,
about
this is
skins in
ass.
Smite 2, but you really can just tell the difference in
Whoever
quality
does
between
like the color
textures. I mean,
palettes
the
and color
materials, they look
coding for
they
them
look
is
realistic.
They do.
kind of fuck it
I
up
think
with
the
a
colors
lot
do
of these
pop so
skins.
much more in Smite 2. It's
Not
it's
all of
really
them.
Nice to see.
I agree. So again, this
But like
event
the
is going
color
to be
changing
dropping
ones
with
where you can pick the different colors, those are all
11.3,
terrible
which is the update
palettes.
coming out next Tuesday. Make sure that you're logging in and playing that daily game. It's my injured day. Like I just had dinner. I'm gonna go to bed in 10 minutes, but I got time for
I'll
an
give a
arena.
Smite. Just one.
Yeah, I got some
That's all I gotta
Smite
do.
in me, and you'll get free rewards for doing it. So make sure you check that out. So from there, we got some more skins we're going to talk about, starting with the Death Squad chest. So it's going to be a new chest coming out with a Loki skin, and we have Slasher Loki. Now, I like this one a lot. This one's
Oh.
good Loki
Oh.
horror skin.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this one's really sick.
See,
I
like,
love
why-
white
why
color,
not
red
drop these
vibes.
during
This is
Halloween,
definitely
though?
selling it to me.
Yeah, you could say that.
I feel like it's just, this would be just a sick,
The mouth
actually a
was
cool
bad.
Halloween skin that they never do.
I don't know what particular genre of horror
This is
that
dope.
falls under.
Well, the card
but
art's
I'm there
dope. We'll
for
see what it looks like
every
in
time.
game.
Yeah, he's creepy.
In game,
but
he's gonna be holding like
cool.
a fucking
I'm trying to find
butter
the right
knife
words.
instead of a real knife.
That's fair.
Like Halloween-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Anybody carrying bloody tools with a pair of what is that, pliers strapped to their chest? that's
It's definitely a little creepy.
yeah, plier like
In a neat way.
with a big blade. I kind of
Okay.
understand what's coming,
like it.
right? But when you
Oh.
have pliers,
You know what's cool about this? He's got 2 different weapons. That's really sick.
that is actually really cool. He's got like the bone saw and then the big old knife too,
That's awesome.
and kind of business formal too. Like
He's got a tie.
yeah, when you're killing your enemies, that's a big day for them. You want to dress for the occasion. So this, like most other skins, I love getting to say this, is a cross-gen skin. So best believe if you have this skin, it will be waiting for you at the dawn of Smite
Disappointed
2.
on the Zeus
And here's the
skin.
Smite 2 render to show you.
The Zeus skin's pretty good in its max form.
Oh.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, the dirty, he has been causing some mayhem to other people aesthetic of the outfit. Just the way the materials look in Smite 2 highlights it so well.
Yeah, I think the detail in the outfit and the textures, as like Lermy was saying from the prior skin, it just looks so good in Smite 2.
I even think you can really like see here like the subtle adjustments to like the posing and as we go actually into playing Loki in the game, I'm sure the animations as well are gonna look awesome with this.
Yeah.
I just think like Smite 2 is so cool.
It is
That's a nice upgrade.
It is so cool. I'm never gonna get sick of saying that. So that does it for the Death Squad chest.
Oh, I
Now
just
we're going
realized
to
they
an event that
changed
you
all the
also know and
mics.
love, the Immortal Honor event. For
They're
those of
back
you
to
who have
using
clicked
my
the
mic
infamous buy
instead of
all
those
button,
nasty
you'll just
head
be getting
mics. I just processed that.
The things we're about to show off, you'll have them. But if not, then maybe these will be the things to convince you that it's worth it, or at least to buy the chapter or the individual skins. Up to you. So first up, we have Thanatos, Cosmic Executioner Thanatos.
Dude, I love all of the like kind of abstract shapes going on here. He's kind of like a space guy, but he's kind of like in that same vein as like the Infinite skins almost, where they have like parts missing, but it makes sense somehow.
They're held together by cosmic energy. And there's a Smite 2 render for this one as well, because these are cross-gen. Ooh, he's got like crystals and stuff too.
And you can really tell like the differences in like each piece of Thanatos here between the metals and like you said the crystals and all of the different varieties of
After like 10th version of the skin, I stopped
think it's
caring.
really cool.
Or Space Badness, depending on which.
Oh yeah, well I guess he's Thanatos.
There are so
right,
many of those
That's
fucking
true.
skins.
So that is the first of the 2 skins available. The second is going to be Bionic Overlord Odin. So our boy Odin getting a little bit of we get to talk about Odin later too.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, Odin has some changes coming up. Ooh, okay, that's cool.
I love this art.
The horns.
Yeah, I really think like the like double space theme we have going on here is pretty cool. We got one that's a little bit more like ethereal, and then Odin's definitely just kind of this like tough guy.
Yeah.
Well, shut up.
Conquer some planets, take over the world. Any of those things on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, one is deep and in the heart of space itself, or is made of the heart of space. And this one came from a planet, but is taking space all for himself. So, and cool. We have the turnaround for this one. Awesome.
Oh,
So nice seeing it.
He's a
in game.
jetpack.
bro, the weapon.
Yeah, I love the details on the spear.
I love the little like plasma bit going on at the end there. It's
Oh, yeah, it's
very,
like flickering.
It's very detailed. I love that.
I
Red
hate
cape
this,
around
dude.
the hood is really cool too. It's a
Yeah.
really
These
nice
are like
touch.
really bad
Couldn't agree
infomercials.
more. And again, like everything,
Or
it's
like
a cross-gen, not
the
everything,
what's
like
that
most things, it's a
selling
cross-gen
channel
skin,
on
and we
TV
have
where
the
they try to
Smite
sell you
community
shit in like 10
show, yeah.
seconds and then you have to buy it before it sells out.
I was talking about it in Smite 1. I have to say, it's cooler in Smite 2.
Bro, the
See,
weapon
that's like
better
it's
look like that
crazy.
in
There
Smite
are so
2
many
because
amazing
that is a
skins in Smite
completely
1
different
as it
weapon.
stands. And, like our team has been creating all of these wild and amazing skins for years.
Completely different
And
weapon
they're
in
still
Smite 2.
doing it, but
QVC,
now they're
yeah.
working in two systems at the same time and making stuff that's
The rest is getting
somehow
trash.
amazing in one,
The weapon
and then,
tip in
like,
Smite 2
amazing
looks way
plus
better than Smite
ultra
1.
limited edition, and like it's just it's amazing.
Incredible stuff.
It is incredible stuff.
awesome.
So those are the two skins you can look forward to in the Immortal Honor event. And again, this is just Immortal Honor is all Smite 2 skins. So not only are the skins verifying gods that will be in Smite 1 when it goes on release, haha, but it's also it's just a chance for you to own some cool skins in Smite 1 and to have those skins sitting there waiting in Smite 2 when it's time to dive in and start playing on Battleground 2 Electric Boogaloo. So check it out. Again, there's 3 ways to buy. You can hit the buy all and just get everything for the rest of the year because it is 2 skins every update for the rest of the year. So you're just gonna it's 48 skins if you include Smite 1 and Smite 2. That's a lot. 24 in Smite 1, 24 in Smite 2. Or buy in chapters or buy individually. Up to you if you feel like it. We appreciate the support and we hope you love the skins. And we have one more little thing that I want to remind you of, and that's Legacy Gems. I know I've already harped on this a few times because we started off with Smite 2.
You'll
but we're
buy
we're
Smite
still
2
counting.
Founders
double your
editions
gems, we're
on
still
whatever
counting.
platform
We're
you
gonna
play
double
on.
If you were like,
You
know
can buy it
what?
on Steam,
I like
Epic,
Odin. I'm gonna
Xbox,
buy all on that
PlayStation,
Immortal Honor event.
whatever.
We're counting. We're gonna take those, and if you buy a Founders Edition, we're gonna double it and give them back to you as.
I wonder if you'll be able to buy it through Nexus.
It's kind of cool. So just make sure you check.
Because if
that
you
out.
buy it,
So
and you can buy it through
we
Nexus,
talked
you
about a lot
better
of
use
cool
my
stuff, some
fucking
cool
link
Cosmetics. Let's get into some of the
to buy it through
balance
Nexus.
stuff,
Oh,
right?
Give me
yeah.
all
I've
of
talked too
Hi-Res's
much.
money.
I need y'all to dive into it. So first, we have some game mode stuff to talk about. Kicking it off with just a few little ranked announcements.
Yeah. So Newt is now going to be available
Nut.
in ranked. Oh my
Newt
gosh,
in
it's
ranked?
time.
Nut
It's time.
time, baby.
All right.
Very excited to see how she's going to perform there. She's been doing actually very average.
I'm
Very
gonna
average,
nut
which has
every
been
game.
a little
It's because
surprising considering she's
dumbass
not
players
that
think she's an
accurate, but in
AA
general,
god.
it's been
She's
really nice
not.
to see all the amazing reactions.
She's also
around Newt getting
really
played.
not
It's been
safe in
just
duo.
amazing to see everyone enjoying hearing the lore lady come across on the battlefield.
It's been
but,
so cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see
I'm
what her stats
nutting
look like.
every
I think,
game.
It's really gonna be a very interesting turn of events coming up.
I agree. I super agree. And there's also going to be a soft reset, I think. it
Yes,
says.
yes,
So-
exactly. Every other patch, we will have a soft reset.
Well, there we go. You heard it here first, or maybe you already knew. Either way. Next up, Joust. Just a little pre-match change.
Yeah, so we're hearing a lot of feedback about Joust, especially switching back to the Jade Corruption map.
Yeah.
That it was getting a little bit difficult to get buffs on time and really make your selections. So we wanted to add just a bit of extra time there at the beginning to
9.
make sure that you're feeling okay getting to your buffs and getting set up and all that good stuff.
Cool. Nothing wrong with just a little more planning time.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're moving into Duel. And Duel, we've been touching on Duel every update now because we got bans, we got unbans.
Fuck
so,
Duel!
I mean, how about the now?
Sorry,
unbans?
dual players, but
Yeah,
fuck
so
duel.
previously we've been doing kind of performance-based bans. This is our first kind of thematic ban that you'll see, and we're gonna try, a couple new things. We've been talking with Duel content creators and seeing what they're interested in,
Yeah.
and this like
Hopefully it makes Duel better
performance-based
for
banning
the
has
people
been
that
fun,
play
it's
Duel,
been
but
cool,
fuck Duel.
But we want to try something a little bit different, and this is going to be kind of old gods out is the theme.
Really?
So every god during Smite 1's alpha and beta is now banned in Duel. So all of the new gods are kind of around to play, and there's a bunch of like classic gods that are really strong in Duel. I'm thinking like Kali, Bakasura, Uller, like all of these gods are gonna be banned for this patch. But we've got another fun theme coming up in the future, so definitely check this one out. We're really interested to see just in terms of like what a bigger ban pool looks like on the mode as well. And this certainly is a bigger pool. I think in total it's
38
like
gods.
yeah, no, it's bigger than that because it's still including ones that are
You're right.
previously banned as
You're
well. So in
right.
total, it's close to 50 gods that are banned.
It's 38
in
new
Duel.
ones.
And
Yeah, so it's
especially
38
with
new ones.
Those themes.
Yeah, especially with the themes. And we're interested to hear what you guys think too. If you guys have a cool theme that you want us to do for Duel, like let us know. And we'll have a discussion about it.
It's like challenge runs for Duel. I
It kind of, it's pretty cool. It's pretty
Badge
fun.
by badge
I've been
challenge
enjoying it a lot.
All right, well, cool. So next up, Conquest, and we have a whole lot of one change for Conquest to talk about. Jungle Shop. Jungle Shop's just getting a little tweak.
Finally.
Yeah, this is just a small
I
quality
won't
of life
think the
change. We heard
Brawler's
some,
fucking
discussion about
passive is a
colorblind
Jungle
players having
Shop.
a bit of an issue seeing the differences between the
'Cause
gold
seeing
and
the
purple
difference, they're the
shops. So I wanna push
same.
it a little bit closer to blue. It's a little bit more blue now, and it's going to
He
change the
said
minimap
seeing
icon
the
as well.
difference,
So
like they
hopefully it's
aren't the
going to
exact
be
same.
Easier for our
That's
colorblind
troll.
players to be able to see that difference, and for everybody else, it's just going to be a slight huge shift, a little bit more towards blue.
That's one of those changes that's just cool. That's cool. Thank you for the feedback, and we hope that it helps. So next up, some of y'all might have seen this and figured it out already, but we got some.
Yeah, I should
domination to
just
talk
know,
about.
dude.
Yeah.
I'm reading
So
chat. I
first
look
of all,
over. I see a
domination
circle. I
comes
think it's a
back.
shop. All
It's been
right.
a little while anyway. So talk about what I mean. You know, what,
I
where'd that
hate
idea
this
come
game
Yeah,
mode.
so Domination's a very, very
hate
passive
it.
mode,
It
right?
is.
It's,
I
it's
fucking
pretty old,
hate it.
and you know what? We felt like it was a little dated.
This is
We've
the
done a
worst game mode
pretty
ever.
Big update to how scoring and just in general how this mode plays.
Okay.
And so we're very interested to hear what you guys think about this, and certainly vote by your plays as well. If you like Domination and you like these changes, let us know and keep playing it, and we'll take the data.
I
from there.
hate
But
it.
With that being said, let's
It's
actually
3
dive into
points.
those changes. And
And
the
you
first thing we
capture
should talk
them
about is
and
the
gain
scoring
points
system.
for having more than the
so
other team.
we did a bunch
captured.
of internal playtests when we brought Domination back, and we
Yeah.
were trying to see like, okay, how does this mode feel? What are kind of maybe some of the pain points? And one of the things we noticed is that the scoring was actually controlled by the minions going into the portals, right? And this is something that I think for most people, when you play kind of domination game mode, you're expecting that the scoring's tied to actually like controlling, the point.
Yeah.
And so we immediately were like, hey, why don't we just shift the scoring away from the minions going into the portal
To the points.
the points actually
Yeah,
being
okay.
captured.
Yeah.
And the moment we tried that, the mode started to feel like it all of a sudden it was making
This
a
was
lot
a
more
game
sense.
mode back in the
People had
day.
never tried the mode before, got into it, and they're like, oh, okay, this is clear to me now what I should expect.
I would
out of the
play
scoring
it
system.
and then
And
hate
then on top of
myself
that,
for
we
playing
kinda,
it and never
moved,
play it again. And then
I
like a
think
few months
different
later, I
benefits
try
and
it
minions
again.
Going in. So there's still a reason to kind of have those minions push into the portal, but it doesn't.
It's a
directly
terrible
affect
game
the
mode.
Scoring like it was before.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That's really cool. So there are some changes to the capture points themselves then as well, right?
Yes. So essentially, when you capture a point, you will be subtracting 1 ticket from the enemy team's score. So both teams start at like full score,
Yeah.
and then by you capturing a point, you are taking down the enemy's score, and you inevitably win the game whenever the enemy's score reaches
Yeah,
0.
run.
So that's the TLDR on that. It's every 3 seconds, depending on how many points that you have. But there's also a special incentive for capturing all 3 points, where if you do, you get extra points that you take away from the enemy's score. So
Okay.
if you are being able to get all 3 of those points, we're calling it a total domination. It's
Awesome. I love
it's
that.
going to be extra good for your team. So it's going to encourage people to not just settle for 2. You do want to go for 3 points if you can, but it is certainly challenging to do so.
Awesome. And I'm seeing something about like a sand guardian in here. Like what's going on with that?
Yeah, we have a couple more small scoring things to talk about, and then we'll move on to that. But
okay.
first,
I'm trying to jump the gun. I'm excited.
yeah, first we wanted to also kind of encourage it to be like more of a fighting mode, right? Because one
love
thing that
fighting
was
modes.
kind of confusing about this mode is that like you're fighting a lot in the points, but it doesn't really feel like it's doing that much.
Yeah.
Like what are you really gaining from fighting? So you are actually going to be gaining tickets now when you get kills on the enemy. So teams
that's
that
better.
are,
All right, they're making the
getting
game
kills
mode better
are
than it
going
was.
To be
It was shit
decreasing
before.
enemies' tickets. So a little bit less PvE, a little bit more PvP. We're hoping that really encourages people to get going.
And then especially for games where, let's say, like maybe you're a little bit too far behind and they're starting to get these sort of kill streaks, now we're actually going to reward you for getting shutdowns a little bit more aggressively, right? So I think instead of just 2 tickets, every time you get those kill shutdowns, actually subtract 5 instead.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So there's some comeback, like if you're getting beat down, but you finally got that item, you feel like your build's online, you start catching, you have a chance to catch up. You're not just being beat down the whole match. That's really cool. I like that a lot.
Exactly. And then there's, of course, the alternate strategy of wanting to push minions into their goals, which is, what previously would be earning you tickets.
Yeah.
Now it's earning you global golden XP. So you are helping your team by pushing minions in. It's not necessarily going to win you the game, considering you're not getting tickets for it.
Yeah.
But it is a nice thing to do in terms of getting yourself that little bit of extra farm that you need to be.
Yeah, it'll give you that edge to try
Exactly.
to get the lead or bring it back. Okay, that's cool. And I'm just a fan of PvP modes anyway. As an arena player for a lot of the time, like I want to get in and fight. So
Custom
I'm super
domination
excited
games?
about that.
No.
Yep.
All right, so now do we get to talk about Sandguard?
Yeah, now we can talk about
Okay.
Sand Guardians.
Okay, I was excited. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're really cool NPCs, and so we wanted to also change a bit of how capturing the Sand Guardians and holding out those points really works. And so the Sand Guardians are still going to be, this neutral objective, but once you actually kill a Sand Guardian, no matter who's sided on, it becomes neutral again. So once you are done, previously it could only be captured by the enemy team if they had taken it from you, or if you took it from them, it's yours.
Yeah.
Now that's not the case anymore. It goes back to being completely neutral, and anyone can recap it again. So think of it kind of like the beacon in Conquest a little bit, where you're able to kind of take it or take it back, no matter who is standing on it at the time.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of positive reception with the beacon, especially because, as multiple different teams are on it, and the kind of interesting engagement points that get made from how, the bar fills. And
45 minutes, and I still don't know a single change.
Thought worked so well for that beacon point, kind of moved them into the domination map, and it really helped alleviate some of the issues with fighting over those points and those Sand Guardians.
Yeah, makes a lot. Hey, as a longtime beacon stand myself, I love having neutral objectives to fight over. It gives you an obvious, right? Hey, I know what I am. So we have a little more mechanical things to talk about. So speed orbs are now present in domination, yeah?
Yeah, this one's like a fun one. This was kind of looking at the map and saying, what are the things that players want to do the most? And they really want to get out of base and kind of get into the action, right? And we kind of had this feedback that some of the camps and stuff might have taken you a little bit out of that sort of combat phase, and taken you a little bit away from what's making the game mode sort of fun.
The detour.
Yeah, exactly. And we thought, why don't we maybe add something that kind of boosts you around the map just a little bit? They're very slight speed boosts for a short amount of time, that can get you to the point, that can get you into the action. And we actually set them up kind of on the map to be like a circuit where you can kind of go from speed order to speed.
Okay, that's cool.
So we originally had the idea. We weren't 100% sure on how it was going to work. The moment we put it in, it just felt so good.
Instantly in that test, we were like, we need to do this.
Yeah, this felt great.
Like playing a racing game and hitting one of those little speed stripes,
it
you
really
tag
does
this
feel
one.
like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's the most enjoyable part of a racing game, is being able to weave through all the different speeds. So
Yeah.
I love that. So next up, looks like just a pass on the collision on the map, just making sure that
this
it
one
fits the time.
This one's a bit minor. It's mostly there were some assets.
Why is these
that
in
might
the
have been,
patch
showing
notes,
up in
bro?
certain places or certain little areas where
No
normally you'd
one
have, a
cares.
smooth
No
wall,
one
and
would
instead of it
know
being a
any
smooth
different.
wall,
No
it
one's
was kind of
played domination.
Cutting out more of a zigzag pattern.
Yeah.
And we felt like for people that want to fight around corners and maybe want to hug walls.
No
and stuff,
one
it's just by
asked.
cleaning up some of these collision things, it helped make it feel a bit more fluid, a bit more.
And this is an OG
Oh.
map at its core, right?
Yeah.
So revamping it can only do so much. You got to go back and clean up the core.
Nope.
portion
No
of
one
it eventually at some
cares.
point. And so we've done that. And
Show
it's
me
just-
some changes.
I will
No
not.
one's gonna
The
play
corners-
this.
The corners feel great.
Awesome. So the last little bit here is just some general balance changes, just more of that. It's been a while since the mode has been around.
Oh
Some of
my
the core Smite has
God.
changed, and these are, I guess, to bring it up. to
Give
speed a
me
little
the
bit.
Yeah, I know
fucking
for the
actual
gold scoring,
game.
a big part of that was just after all these playtests and stuff, we wanted to make sure, hey, when you're building around your sixth item or the pacing of the game, does it feel like it can still remain
There's
competitive
another
at a
little
certain point, right?
fucking
Can teams go
chat
back and
or
forth?
text at the
Does it
bottom
feel like
that's
you're
not
getting
a
to try and
fucking-
build, too
the
fast?
next
Does it feel
thing
like
I'm
maybe
gonna
too
lose my
slow?
mind.
And we found that 7 felt like a really good number that fit the map and fit kind of like the new mechanics that we added in.
Cool. Rock and roll. Well, again, excited to have this game mode come back. It's going to be a lot of fun, and more excited than anything to hear what y'all think about it. I mean, it's a classic, right? And we're hoping that everybody's going to be able to dive back in, or maybe if you weren't around during its first, during when it was still around, maybe you get to dive in for the first time, bring your friends, and discover a new game mode. So either way, we'll be looking for y'all's feedback, and we're just excited to see it go out. I think so. They did a lot of amazing work on it, so it's been fun.
Is this it?
So now we're into items. We have some items to talk
Okay.
about up next. And I mean, y'all just want to dive right into it then?
Yeah, let's get going.
Let's do it. All right, so Envenomed Executioner, the EE is up first.
Yeah, so we've heard about this item. It made its debut in 11.1, and it was very, very popular.
Bro.
We are really happy to see
They're making
people
it
being
stacks.
flexible
They
with
need to
when
take
they're
it off
picking
of
up
Exy.
the actual upgrade to it, because we
best
wanted to make
AA
sure
item
one of
in
the
the
main
game
goals for this
has the
glyph
best
was
glyph
to
in the
ensure
game.
that players felt like they had options to go into earlier anti-heal for hunters specifically.
Yeah.
And so goal accomplished. We did it. Awesome.
I think
The
it did
other,
very well. Yeah.
yeah, the other thing that came up that was a little bit problematic was that it was applying that on one basic attack right away, which is very, very strong, considering that hunters who are usually buying this item are able to do that from a range without really being at much risk themselves.
Yeah.
So we wanted to kind of break this up and make it a little bit more thematic. And so Executioner has stacks. Now this stacks as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Straightforward. I like that. Cool. So next up, we're maneuvering on the mannequins, both the scepter and the mace. It looks like.
Yeah, this one was a good like quality of life one. I think
Yeah.
The other jungle starter, I think it's Bumba's,
That's
right? You're
actually-
usually anytime you kill a camp, you're getting that heal kind of without any friction. But
No,
the
they
issue
need
that
to
we kind of
change
noticed with
the
this one is
amount.
you have to have the burn applied.
It has, like,
to the
no
camp in order
sustain.
to get the heal. And there's some cases where I think let's say you have an ability that one shots the camp or something like
Yeah.
that. You weren't getting the heal, and it felt more inconsistent than it felt thematic. So we felt like kind of removing that restriction, making the item more consistent across the board, helped kind of alleviate that pressure.
Yeah, and the numbers and the way that this is tuned is still less than Bumba's. You are still not getting the consistent healing like you would if you went Eye of the Jungle. So this starter does still provide very likely the least sustain out of the three. But at least it'll be a little bit more consistent now. So we're hoping that, when you expect to get your heals, you're getting your heals and you're not, dying a jungle camp. That would suck.
That would suck. It's happened before. Never a good feeling. So we have a few shards to talk about next up.
Yeah.
Specifically the wing shard for the first of them.
So again, going back to 11.1 a little bit, we put in passive shards.
We did.
And they were very popular, which, is awesome to see that
I don't
people
think
are
this
trying out
matters
the,
at all.
the shiny new thing. But also, we wanted to make sure that our older active shards were not getting left behind in the dust. So
This
one big
changes
thing that we wanted
absolutely
to do
nothing.
was to give people the ability to have these kind of power
They're
spikes.
basically
or, like,
saying
power
if you
plays
use
a
it
little bit more
on
frequently.
cooldown,
So
you get a third
120
use
seconds,
it
once
now
every 2
instead
minutes,
of
that just wasn't cutting it when the other shards were up. Kind of
instead
all the
of
time.
two.
Yeah, essentially. So we wanted to move both Wing Shard, which you're seeing here, and Vision Shard, which is the
guess
next
4
one, which
use
is
it
going
at
to be a
0
pretty exciting
seconds.
one, from 120 to 90 seconds.
Yeah.
So we hope that it gives a little bit more potential to these shards, and I can't wait to see.
Yeah, all of you vision lovers out there, come on, it's 90 seconds. You got more time. You can spy those critical spots a little easier. So next up, the Soul Eater.
I feel like I'm coming back to 11.1 a lot. It's
Yeah.
almost like we did a lot of changes in that
It's
patch.
almost like it was a really big update. Weird. Anyway.
We did a very big lifesteal update
It
in
did.
11.1.
It was a
Oh
lot.
shit! Wait, they just give it
and
10 power?
We're excited to see
Let's
that a lot of lifestyle items we're
go.
still seeing like pretty
That
solid
is truly
changes in terms of like
back.
how they felt to play into gods or into lanes and like what that dichotomy kind of looked like. But
Yeah.
one item that has been just missing from this whole equation has been Soul Eater.
Soul Eater.
So one thing that we wanted to focus around was to make this very succinctly kind of this early game item that
I
you
actually
can
think
get.
Soul Eater was
And
always
still,
good.
the price is reasonable. It is higher than it was before, and we're not changing the healing because the healing is the part that kind
it
of
has
makes
50
it.
power on it.
I'm gonna struggle to find a word other than annoying right now, but it can be a little bit difficult to play around in like solo lane when it comes to we're just healing the whole
Yeah.
time. We're not really fighting each
Stacking
other.
Soul Eater
So
is
instead of
easy
that,
as
we just
fuck,
want to make
bro.
you stronger in terms of your
Stacks aren't
lane
a
pressure,
problem.
in terms of the way that you fight people, and hopefully this will give you a nice power spike to play around when you're picking up Soul Eater.
Cool. So, Book of Thoth looks like it was sent back to the editors.
Kill
couple
it.
revisions came back to us. What happened?
Yes.
Kill it!
You want to go?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna
Kill
preempt this. I'm
it.
sorry.
Go
There's
for
a
it, go for it.
lot. There's a lot of
Yeah.
changes in this next section because it's gonna involve a lot of things. And the first thing you're seeing on the
Kill
screen
it,
here is
Kronos
the Book of
comes
Thoth.
back.
So I want to preface this by saying
All right,
this is the mage big change that we've been kind of waiting for. I know that we've
Kill
been
it.
seeing a lot of ability hunters in mid.
Yeah.
And that has not been very delightful for our mid lane mains. So I want to make sure that we are kind of shifting the balance here. So you're seeing Book of Thoth get nerfed because
They're
this
nerfing
is
Book
kind of
'cause
the
it's all you
mainstay. When you're
build
playing
in
a
every
mage,
build.
you get
It
Book of
needs to
Thoth.
go.
That's
It's trash.
kind of the deal. But this is the only nerf, and we are instead pulling this power from Book of Thoth to kind of really try to force a bit of a shift here in terms of Book of Thoth's not going to be the mainstay that it was. Many other items are getting nice additional quality of life or power or whatever it might be buffs, and we've
Yeah.
got a big list of those.
We got a big list. I mean, it's just time to work down it. So, Enchanted Spear is next down on the list.
Yeah, so Enchanted Spear is the
They
tier
added it
2
back.
of the flat pens.
They added flat pen back. Remember they removed it from all tier 2
A
items?
bit of a power spike towards the beginning of the game, and not specifically power, but penetration is important in terms
Yeah.
of being able to clear camps and things like that that do have moderately high magical protections
Yeah.
in certain instances, and this will also help against players as well.
It certainly will. So, moving past that, we have the Spear of Desolation. Good old
Yeah.
Deso.
So I guess the next couple changes here are just going to be some
They're
power,
gonna
as we
revert.
talked
Sorry,
about
they're gonna
before.
spread the power from Thoth
11.1
onto all
had
the
to
other
change
core
class
items.
passes, which took away
That's what
a
I'm
little bit
calling
of
now.
power at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Flat pen, you obviously want to kind of put towards the beginning of your build.
They're gonna make it so you don't have to
a
build
little bit more
Thoth,
power at the
bro. You
beginning,
still have
put
power.
back into that.
How,
flat
so
pen.
Thoth isn't the only
Makes
power,
sense.
the
So
only
that
item
looks
for
like
power.
It's following suit for Spear of Desolation, Divine Ruins that way, and then we get into more of that penetration.
There it
for
is.
Cursed Orb, though.
Yes, this one's exciting.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a big shift here. Cursed Orb is the
Ooh,
tier here too for Doom Orb.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times when it comes to the theming of this item, it's been
That's
a bit back
fucking
and forth, right? There was a
sick.
time where it was
Vulcan's
power.
back,
I know
Quang
back in
is
the metas
back.
when even you
Yep.
were playing the SPL. It's a very,
Honest.
very popular first item. And so we're thinking, if it's a very popular first item because of the passive, why does it have percent pen? Let's just lean into it being, this early game item. And so we're changing the pen from percent to flat to really emphasize that you have more flat pen options.
Yeah.
And you can go this one in the beginning of the game and not feel too bad about it.
Cool. I mean, like you said, a crazy change. That's cool. And it evolves kind of into Doom Orb in that way then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really
More
exciting to kind
power,
of reintroduce
okay.
that build diversity again, especially because
I actually think Doom Orb should have had 15 flat pen.
If that was mostly
10.
the kind of first item that people were getting, this really helps bring in another first item. and a couple
Expensive
of
ass
first items
item.
from that list.
Does
Yeah,
have a lot of
little more
power
build
now, though,
diversity,
especially with
like
stacks.
like you
Exactly.
said, broadening the horizons of your potential builds. So it looks like we're kind of diving into just a sweep of magical power increases. So
Yes.
Rod of Tahuti and its glyphs, more power.
Yep, this is kind of known more like as an end capper, like towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
But because mages were still also losing power over their levels, we wanted to make sure that we were hitting kind of all
So
aspects.
there's a god
of their
change
build.
that they're gonna
It's
say
some, number
that makes
of
all of these
power
items
buffs.
literally
So,
be
you'll
built
see Rod of
on that
Tahuti
god.
is kind of on the other end of things, but we've got more items as
Yeah,
well.
this is usually an item you're not really building until 4th or 5th slot, right? So
Yeah.
it really is targeting that sort of late game.
Yeah, which is a good contrast to the Doom Orb and what we just talked about, like diversifying the early game, giving more potential power to the end game. It really is kind of a sweeping change, which is cool. So from Rod of Tahuti, Charon's coin.
Yeah,
More
kind of
power.
same idea. This is more of like a mid-game item just
Yeah.
because you
All
do
these
want
buffs
to stack it up if
are
you can.
like
You're so happy
Vulcan
that it's a
buffs,
20%
Zeus
pen item,
buffs.
so not bad to have in the mid-game.
Zeus
but
getting a
stacking
tier
it is also
5
really nice,
skin,
so
his
a little
items
bit more
getting
mid-game
buffed.
oriented.
A little more mid-game. Next
Shocker
up,
there.
Soldier.
Never
It's
saw
been
that
a
one
bit since
coming.
We've been seeing some soul gems.
It has.
So even with the lifesteal changes, this one has still been kind of under.
Oh my! And they literally are putting power and changes on every single core
It does,
item
and
outside of
that it
Thoth.
will get. We have Spear of Mages up next. More power.
God damn!
More
Kind of
power.
Same deal. This is another mid-game item.
We sharpened the spear. We put more magic into it. It's good to go.
Yeah.
Demonic Grip up next.
Yeah, and don't worry, you magical ADC fiends. You've got your help as well. A little bit of extra power here on Demonic Grip. Again, another mid-game item to really kind of keep that power train going.
All right, and so we're ending on something.
Oh, this one's
Yep.
exciting.
a little
Yeah.
different. I was about to say this one deserves a little more preface. We've moved past Power Nation, and now we're into this one. This one's I don't know.
Lot of fun.
I'm hyped for this one. So Sphinx's Bauble getting a change.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what is that change?
I already know about this.
Yeah, so we're actually removing the protection, healing, self debuff. I actually remember being in this conversation. We were kind of chatting about what are the reasons that people aren't picking up this item, because we think it's
Yeah.
really interesting the way that
It is.
I think it's because its stats are
It's
ass.
one of those that changes a core mechanic of the game. Like,
Exactly.
It's crazy.
But what we noticed, and I think we found it a little bit with Griffin Wing, right, which was that sort of like detriment or that drawback
Yeah.
really makes players not want to pick this up. And it already
It's not even just the
stat-wise is
drawback,
not
it's the
most
stats.
efficient
The
to
stats
begin
are
with.
ass.
So it's kind of like getting a double negative when it
Same
has
with
a
Griffin
drawback
Wing.
plus
The
that
stats
fighting
are
efficiency.
ass.
So we figured at this point it might be more interesting of a pickup if we just remove that drawback.
Yes, exactly. And that also opens it up to being a little bit more flexible too. When we were seeing this item,
Yeah.
a lot of times it was on supports. And again, it's not a stat efficient item for supports by any means, but could pick it up. It's not, debuffing your procs
You
anymore. It's
lose
not,
too many
reducing
stats
healing.
to go for
So
50%
we're excited
cooldown.
to see kind of what the potential of this item
Like
has.
maybe
We still
like
think it will still
Yamoja,
be
like
underpurchased just because
the
it's so
non-mage
niche.
gods that can
But
get
it's fun.
advantage
It's
out of
fun.
it.
So we want to get a little bit more.
Or maybe like your
excited about
Hells
trying
for
all
healing, your
these new,
Aphrodites for
fun
healing.
things, and
Like instead of a
we're hoping
damage
that,
item, you go
Sphinx's
that for
Bauble
more
maybe gets a
cooldown.
little bit of play.
Yeah, where if y'all pop off and are like Sphinx's Bauble is where it's at, and here's why, and we just somehow missed it. Like
It's
that'll
definitely
be
better on
cool.
spammers like
Horrifying,
your warriors and your
probably, but
guardians.
Y'all will figure it out. Y'all always do. So, well, awesome. That does it for item balance. Now there's a lot of really cool balance still to come. But we're gonna dabble back out into
It's just
some cool
those items
cosmetics,
miss on like
with
core stats
this
like pen.
patch's cross-gen pass, the Oni Slayer cross-gen pass. So I've talked about it. Last year we had the bigger, longer battle passes, but this year, the year 11, the Road to Smite 2, we're in the cross-gen pass
Bro,
era.
how do we go from
And
cool
the
changes
cross-gen
to
passes
fucking
have
this?
Skin thicker cross-gen. It's that simple. So there's going to be one per patch, and each of
Back to
these
the
is going to
changes.
have 2 skins usually, and
one
a
cares.
sprinkling of other cool cosmetics that you can earn throughout the patch that will be ready for you in Smite 2. So I guess the best way to do it is to just dive in and talk about the 2 skins, starting with Wandering Blade King Arthur, which is the first of the 2.
Oh, dude, I love this card art.
Yeah, I absolutely love this color scheme. I love like white and reds and that shoulder piece. It's such a nice touch.
Yeah, he's got a really cool look to him. I mean, I'm just like, I love the King Arthur skin. I love King Arthur, but can I just shout out our incredible art team? Like, this piece is incredible.
It is. Point yourself out in the picture. That's me on the right. I got the cool round hat. So, but I absolutely love it. I love this. It's a completely outside of, because, you know, King Arthur, the knight aesthetic.
I love the clouds.
Bro. The details on the skin are incredible.
Yeah.
Can I just say that?
It's just, I love the pauldron. It's got the scary, the Oni face.
Also the skin textures.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he's seen a couple battles in his
Oh,
time.
how are we hyping up this King Arthur skin, bro?
Again,
What?
It's just such a cool reimagining.
There's no
of,
world.
King Arthur. And I'm gonna say that thing I love to say is cross-gen. Let's check out the Smite 2 render.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That looks so cool. I mean, it's just, you know, it's able to be a little sharper.
There's nothing wrong with the skin, but you're not
Smite 1
hyping this
because
shit up.
It's on a newer platform. So you
It's
just
like
see the
making
definition
toast
of
and hyping
so
it
much
up like
more
it's
detail.
great.
Yeah, that's a good term for it.
The
Definition.
fuck outta here.
I just really love like to see again the difference in materials, and you can really feel like the depths of shadow. Like you can tell like the stance this guy in is really solid.
Yeah. All right, well, I could stare at this for another 45 minutes, but we have things to move on to. Specifically, the second skin in this event, the Dark Supreme Nuwa skin.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Nuwa.
Hello.
Change of pace a little bit.
I love this theme. Can I just say?
Yeah.
She's like a super spooky elf lady. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I hadn't even looked at the ears, and you know, I had to pick
You
up on
make that
I was
an emote.
distracted by the horns and also the guys in the background.
Yeah, those are her minions, I presume.
You know what? You are probably right about that. One of the things I love about Nuwa skins is how with every one, like the floating crystals take on a different shape.
Oh.
Yep.
So, because these ones are they're like crystal.
Bro, Mindy already
torches
made like
almost,
6
you know?
builds.
Yeah.
So that's just
That's a good point.
that's just a me thing. It's just with every Nuwa skin, I'm like, but what are the crystals? So let's check out what this skin looks like in Smite 2.
Ooh.
The textures, again, I keep saying it, but it keeps being true. Gosh dang it, our art team's crazy.
That's true. Honestly, like if you ever see them on Twitter or in the world at an SWC, like I don't think you can thank them enough for all the incredible work.
Bro, you
they
guys
do.
will buy
So,
a skin as
shout
long
out to
as
them,
there
especially
is
because,
a
again, we're making
pixel
skins that
of boob
can
showing.
jump a 10-year generational gap. from
one
game
pixel
to
of boob
another.
and you guys all
Like,
bought the skin.
I don't even understand how that works, and I work at the company. I work around these people, and I'm like, how do you make skins that can exist in 2 places at once? It's magic. So it's godly work, you could say. But anyway, now that I've said that, that will be the next CrossGen Pass Oni Slayer. It will be available next Tuesday when the patch comes out.
Crazy.
So look out for that. Earn those skins so that they will be waiting for you in Smite 2. So now we're back into balance.
I'm saying you guys are
right?
down
And
bad.
We're gonna do a little balance. We have one more non-balance and then some more balance. So we got a little back and forth
Yeah.
left to go. But this balance is framed a little differently. Y'all must have set up your computers in a kitchen. 'Cause y'all just been cooking for a while now.
Nonstop,
Yeah,
nonstop.
I've been trying to get caught up. Obviously, I don't know nearly as much. Like y'all are the brains behind this, so I've just been staring like outside the window, looking in, like whoa. So let's just get right into it. So first off, we have a little bit of standard God balance,
Yeah.
right?
So to kind of preface where we're at right now, we have got 3 different sections of balance coming up.
They
and
only
so
buffed
this
one
first
AA
section is
mage
going to
item
be
though,
the
right?
buffs,
So we're not gonna see
that you're
AA
typically
Chronos.
used to seeing. These
Yeah.
are just your standard underperforming characters for some reasons or another. And so Chronos is our first one up on our list. And again, we talked a little bit earlier with the items that mages just in general were performing not very great, but Chronos was the standout compared to his mage ADC brethren in
like
terms
extra
of
underperforming,
he was
yeah.
extra underperforming. So just a small buff to stop time, especially in the early game, which is where Chronos, tends to be the weakest.
Yeah.
It's part of his clear, but the problem is that, he has got the really quick repetitive clear in his one, but stop time is kind of the tool that he uses to keep himself alive and
Yeah.
clear, and being able to have a little bit better access to that is just going to help him survive through the early game.
Fair enough. Well, as somebody who doesn't know how to play Chronos and can't counterplay him, I hate it. Let's move on to Circuit.
Serket up next, and you would think that Serket would have been doing pretty well considering just how strong Crit was recently,
Yeah.
but especially because Crit is
Bro, just
nerfed,
up
and
her
that's, like, a lot of Serket's
scaling.
thing. She's not been
Scaling
doing too
only.
hot.
I don't want anything else
so we want
touched.
to kind of give her a little bit of extra help in terms of getting the fight started because she is.
She
very
doesn't one shot
single-target.
without a
That's, like,
crazy
lot of what
lead
Serket does,
unless
is
you're
that she runs
separated
one
from the
person
team.
down
If
and
you're with the
can blow
team,
'em
you
up.
can't one shot
But
fast enough for you.
if she's not getting the fight started, she's not doing a whole lot. So we want to let her have a little bit more opportunity to get those fights started and get rolling.
Okay, makes a lot of sense for her.
Or make her 3
so
do
Hell
something
is
useful.
next on the list.
Yes, and again with the mages, we were talking
Again
a little
with the
bit.
mages.
Holy
Being a little bit
fuck.
tough for poor Hell. You know, she was having a really tough time in lane, especially. So we wanted to make sure that when she's getting through to this
And
late
prods
game
late
potential
game?
that she really should be having,
Removed?
it's feeling strong. And so we were thinking, you know, with Hinder specifically, being able to pull off protections is always nice, but we want to give her a little bit more onus in terms of carry versus carry fights because, you know, she is good at spamming, but when she's fighting enemies, you know, she's a little bit sprinkled.
Bro,
in
my
with the
YouTube
utility
chat
as well.
asked for an
So it's not only
Ares
helping
buff.
her, it's helping maybe her support, or if she's got a magical
They don't know.
jungler like Maman or maybe Ao Kwang,
Oh, shit.
going to be able to shred those squishies a little bit faster, which will be very nice.
And I like this sort of buff because you still have to like hit the ability right on targets before you follow up. So there's still kind of that like thought process behind, you know, when do I use this and how do I use this?
Yeah.
So
I guess Mindy's
it's a really nice
coming
shift
back.
to kind of do this to help her out.
They buffed
Yeah,
Hell.
I
If they
agree.
buff all Pois,
So,
she's
not
back.
exactly a mage unless you are a Guan
Only they're
unicorn
buffing out
player,
Pois, though.
I guess, but we have Guan Yu next.
Yeah, so specifically for Guan Yu, he was just not keeping up in lane, and that's really the specific buff here is that you'll see that the biggest change rank to rank is going to be from old rank 1 to new rank 1, and that was simply because that even with the passive boost on Conviction, it was healing you for basically the same amount as one basic attack for a whole ability, and this ability is really strong when you're with your teammates, but in solo lane, you're not with any teammates, you're by yourself. So specifically in that laning phase is when he was having a lot of struggles, and so we're just giving him a little bit of extra sustain. So even if he's not necessarily going to be able to keep up and clear, he can at least feel relevant in the lane and not relegated to sitting under tower and clearing the
And
minions.
spinning.
I don't think Guan's actually that bad,
Cool.
to be
So
honest.
the last in the standard lineup is Bacchus.
Yes, and Bacchus has
What?
been falling a
What?
bit behind in terms of his late game potential. In the
What?
early game, he's doing quite
he's got-
all
he's
right.
got
good.
strength,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's hanging in
What?
there. The problem is
The
that he
fuck?
kind of, you know, he's doing all right, falls off a cliff like
Yeah, bye.
tentatively. He's getting a little bit too tipsy at the party. So we wanted to give him a little bit more
Falls off
potential
late game,
in
so give him
terms
20
of
damage?
actually being able to feel like he's making a really big effect in the team fight, especially depending on
confused?
how you're ordering, how you're using your skills. So for instance, you know, belly flop getting a little bit of extra late game damage is going to help when you are fully committing into a fight.
Yeah, when you're getting in there.
And it certainly will start to hurt once you are getting to that late game, especially if you're using the buff that you're getting from your ultimate, which would be very, very nice. So it's going to be a very nice small buff for him, but hopefully going to help his late game combo potential.
Yeah, reel it in a little bit. Really finish the party strong. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So we've done it. We've talked about standard balance. So
Standard.
now we're
Yeah.
in to pocket number 2. And these ones are dubbed quality of life adjustments. So talk me through that. What are we expecting here?
So with Smite 2 on the horizon, we're trying to kind of take a look at gods, just kind of in a nutshell, right? Like how do these gods feel? How do they play? Are there ways that we can improve these gods that either are a number 1 thematic win, number 2 just a fun win, or number 3 quality of life win? So we're going to be talking about number 3 right now, which is just quality of life. And so these are kind of things that are like, oh, you know, I kind of wish that I could do that. Or maybe it feels like, you know, things have kind of been not necessarily broken, but maybe a little bit like clunky, a little slow, a little sluggish. We just want to kind of improve the feel of these characters most of all.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to get in and talk about some of these then. And it looks like Chiron was first on the QOL list.
Yes, this one's very cool. I'm very excited about this one. So
All right.
Chiron, when he dashes,
Whoa,
he's able to basic attack, right? So he's firing arrows
Why
from
are we
his bow.
quality of life in
And so
Chiron?
when we were thinking about it, we were like, well, when he uses 2, he also fires arrows.
Whoa.
So let's let him be able to use this potential, especially because he gets that power
Whoa.
buff when in Giddy Up as well. You
Yeah.
can now additionally get extra power buff for your Masterful Shot, which is just really fun.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This
And
god
then in
already
general,
is
what
hard
we're
as
seeing for
fuck.
Centaurus here is something that you
Whoa.
might see for a couple of other abilities coming up. One thing, and this is a big shout out to Ponpon over on the
Use
Smite 2
your two.
team, who was doing some excellent technical work behind the scenes. He brought up kind of a discovery that he made over when working in Smite 2, where projectiles have kind of a bit of lag when it comes to when they're getting spawned, especially depending on the server.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
This
you want to go a
old
little bit more
change
into
is
the
gonna
technical
be
explanation of this,
nice,
because
bro.
that's kind of
Yeah. So anytime
gonna be
you know, a client, if you
nice.
were to fire an ability, You have to shoot a message up to the server validates it, says, okay, hey, I can spawn this projectile, comes back down to the client, says, hey, this projectile can
fire
spawn,
away.
and we go. And so whatever you see your ping, that's usually that round trip time that we're talking about. So you have to shoot the message to the server and get the message back. So the idea here is that in order to make some of these characters feel a little bit more
Chiron is
responsive
not
in those
trash.
situations,
Chiron is an
you kind of
insanely
adjust
good
the
mid laner
timings
right now.
to account for that lag compensation, i.e., I know that
You're
there's going to be some
drunk
amount of
as
ping while
fuck.
I'm waiting
You
for
probably
this
build him
projectile to
AA
spawn.
based.
I can maybe kind of offset some of these pre and post fires.
You
just a
can
little bit
ult
to
somebody
make that
twice in
projectile
2
come out
and 100 to
maybe just
0
a
though.
bit sooner on the server, so that I'm seeing it on my animation side coming out at the right time, like right when my hand is swiping over or something like that.
Okay.
No, this does not
Yeah, and
make
these
Chiron
adjustments
a
that you're
jungle
seeing,
god.
when we say we're making it quicker, this is fractions of a fraction of a second.
It's going to
It's-
feel better.
It's
but it's not going to make.
frames.
It is like it's a small difference, right? But you will feel it as the player, and as the enemy, you're barely going to notice the difference, if at all. This is really just for each individual player to see, I'm shooting my shot, it's coming out when it looks like it should be coming out, and all that like connects together. But again, as the enemy, projectiles are not moving faster. This is not like changing anything about the actual like ability that's coming out. It's just when you fire it. And the abilities themselves, they're not getting shorter. All of the time that's getting pulled away from this pre-fire is getting put into the post-fire. So you're still in the animation for the same amount of time. It's just when does this projectile spawn and how does it line up with everything else? And again, you'll see this change a couple of other times. And again, I want to emphasize fraction of a second. Very, very small, very minute, but noticeable.
It's not above. It's one of those things that when you're playing it, you feel it, like I'm sure for a lot of you gamers out there, you've hit something where you're like, I don't know what it is, but this just doesn't feel right. It's stuff like that, and it's crazy that y'all have been able to discover instances of that and fix it.
I think there are some cases where it's like a lot more egregious, and those are obviously going to be the biggest ones that you feel. And then there's some that are a lot more subtle, but we still want to kind of look across the board and apply that same methodology to any character. If it can make them feel better, we should do that.
It's the level of care that I've always seen y'all guys give, where it's like, all right, so there's something egregious, and we're gonna fix that for sure, but let's look at literally everything and make sure that it all feels as good as it can. So
so you'll see it a couple of times here, and again, it's something that we want to keep kind of in our back pocket for the future. If we find more of these instances, we will be fixing
All right,
them.
can we get to the next shit?
Y'all are cool. All right, so Kali up next. Let's keep moving down.
Okay, completely different thing here.
Yep.
Completely different. Let's mind shift for a second here. So again, some of these things are going to just be nice feeling changes. This is not the biggest Kali change in the world. March for Death is her passive. She's got the passive wheel come up. Morrigan has the same passive wheel, but the difference between current Kali and current Morrigan is that when Morrigan has this wheel up, she can move around. And Kali has this wheel up when she spawns, and so a lot of times you're kind of put into this like quick thinking, like I have to make this decision now. I have to, do this immediately before I can do anything else. Now you kind of have the ability to
Now
move
I can
around
move
and then
when I
also
spawn?
select while you're
What?
getting out of base.
Purely quality of life. Purely just good stuff. So
That's not even quality of life, bro.
Heimdall is up next.
Yes, this is another kind of more, again, leaning into that quality of life. When Heimdall misses a target with Through the Realms, of course, which you hope doesn't happen, but sometimes it does. Sometimes you want to use it even as just a dash, like a movement ability.
Yeah, something you gotta
His post-fire, which again we'll kind of talk about more, that's just like the technical term for like the abilities technically
only
done
when you
doing the
miss?
thing that it was going to
Not
do,
even
but
when
now
you
you're
hit and they
resolving the
beat?
animation. It was lasting too long because it was lasting the exact amount of time that it would take for him to actually swing. There was no difference between that, even though the animations were different lengths. And now he will have a unique post-fire for when he misses, which will allow him to act sooner and not be like stuck in the CC immune, can't do anything.
Yeah, like his brain was trying to process, I'm supposed to be swinging.
Bro,
right
Kali
now, but you
already
missed,
sucks.
So you just stand there.
Her
awkwardly
quality of
for,
life does
a little
nothing.
bit of time. That's
Chiron's
cool.
really good.
Can
Quality
you
of life
patch
makes
out
him
the,
better.
Shame of missing the ult.
Heimdall quality of life
If I had
is
the
like,
power
hey,
to do
you
that,
suck dick, so
I
we're
would.
not gonna
Sorry.
penalize
Allow
you.
it, you can turn around and keep firing, right? That should feel
There you
good.
go. That's the copium I needed. So Charon is next up on the QOL list.
Yes. Charon is a very new god, right? But even with Charon, we found a couple of instances that we could fix up with his basic attacks and Spectral Surge of, the timing that we talked
What
about
is
previously.
this?
But also, Ferryman of Souls. This is passive, where he's able to gain max health. We've heard a lot of discussion.
Why
a lot
are
of
we
discussion
quality of life being OP
about
shit?
infinite stacking, or quote-unquote infinite stacking
stacking.
mechanics, and how that could be pretty interesting and fun to have. So you want to try that with Charon, who is kind of our first step to seeing like how players really like this, because this isn't increasing his ability to like have health like more
Right.
in the early game. It's really if you are the GOAT Charon and you're getting to 350, you could go up to 998. You could have up to that much.
Oh, is this not
But
just buffing him as a mid
a lot
laner?
of players weren't getting to that 350. We just want to say, you know what? Go for the high score. Get as high as you can. Get as close to the cap as you can absolutely get. But good luck. It's very hard.
So I have to ask, why 998?
It was a little bit of a UI restriction, and also, you know, just thinking about 1,000 health is a lot of health, right?
That is a lot of health.
And it's not any easier to get the coins either.
Yeah.
You still have the limitation of I can only carry around 20
So
at a
many,
time,
yeah.
and I have to get them from minions. So it's not making him any better in the early game. It's really, again, the crazy Karons that were going for the high score. Now you can really go for the high score, and I'm very interested to see how high someone gets.
Well, this
in the
isn't
actual game.
crazy
That makes a lot
stuff.
of
This is
sense. I
just
just-
making
the one
gods
in
that
my
are
head
already
was
good
like,
better.
why 998? And you know, I just,
There's nothing crazy about this.
Yeah, if we could let you get infinite health, we would.
I'm
but
not even worried
unfortunately,
about the
we
extra
gotta
health.
cap it at
They're
some
probably
point.
not even gonna hit it.
Let's
But
be
why
honest,
are we
yeah.
even looking at
if
these
you get to
gods?
998,
No, that's crazy.
You're crazy.
That's
You're
a long
insane.
game.
That's a
or
long
you're-
game.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, cool. So let's continue to paddle downstream with Sobek, kind of in the water as well.
yes, well, definitely in the water, because when he's lurking in the waters, he's not really
What?
like, in the play space per se. He's kind of going under.
Very under, yeah.
He's very under,
submerged.
and he's kind of making his own water, right?
Yep.
Like he's kind of a little bit like in his own realm, and so
Yeah,
visually,
this
at
is
least,
a
it kind of is very strange
genuine
when your character
buff
is like
to Sobek.
1% above the water.
I already
and
banned
you're
Sobek
ramming
every
into a
game.
wall and you're getting stuck in the Ymir wall or the Odin cage or whatever it might be. So we're just giving him player pass through when he is in his ultimate. So now he's going to be able to go under that. So there's a
Swim
lot
over.
less visual disconnect when that's happening.
I don't know what's
Visually, it's a
happening
lot
right
more
now.
Cohesive.
Yeah.
just based on what you would expect, right? If you were to go into that wall.
Instead of the puddle just kind of being like, bong.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well, cool. So next up, sticking with the water theme, Poseidon.
Yes, this is a cool one. I mean, Poseidon is a character
good.
that for a long time has had
This
kind
is
of
better.
this disconnect.
Have the Poseidon shirt.
where his whirlpool looks like it's coming out, but it's not hitting people right away.
Yeah.
It looks like
Yeah.
it should
People are
be
just
hitting
narrowly escaping. Right?
and they're like this much, and it happens more frequently than you think, right? So for Whirlpool, we are increasing or rather decreasing the time it takes to activate to make sure that it better matches the visual effect. And again, it is a
Very
very
subtle.
slight adjustment.
This is
but
good.
You should actually be feeling the difference as the
A
Poseidon
god that
player,
isn't
which
OP,
is
I think
getting
it's
a change
clear
that's
to
needed.
establish that intent, right? Is that we want it to visually look like it's matching, right?
Yes.
And I think in the past it always looked like it had completed, but people were still kind of escaping. And we wanted to make sure that if it's completing and you see that visually, that it reflects in that sort of hit onto the
Yes,
target.
exactly. And we made the smallest adjustment possible to actually
Oh,
make that
yeah,
true. It was literally
A lot of iteration.
100th of a second difference between some of our iterations. But we tested multiple of them, and we got to a number that we were feeling like, yep, this is the least amount that we have to change to actually make it feel like it's hitting.
Such a crazy how micro of an adjustment that kind of like you're like, all right, well, I guess 1/100th of a second.
Yeah,
is
you're like, how much
yeah,
actually
how
is
do you
that?
hone in on that? That's impressive. All right, so Cuckoo up next, KukulCon with a couple changes. Basic
Yes.
tag, Zephyr, Whirlwind. Let's go down the list.
So Kukulkan
That's a
is one of the
nerf.
characters
Okay.
that has kind of been a menace lately. He's been a bit of a ranked fiend and even a casual fiend to an extent. So he is getting a couple changes here, but we wanted to kind of pair it with some nerfs because, again, he's doing very well. So with us giving him a definite buff in him being able to hit the, well, we'll get there, but hit Whirlwind more consistently.
Yeah.
He's already doing well. He doesn't need to get extra, goodness off of that. We want the character to feel good, number one, and then additionally on top of that, we're going to balance him backwards a bit because
Yeah,
he's getting
be
that extra
fair.
consistency. So
I wonder if all these
fair
changes
across the board. But yes, the
affect
basic
them being
attacks
ported
are going
over
to
to
be taking
Smite
that
2.
timing consideration. Zephyr is also getting a cooldown increase as part of his nerf, and then if we move
Like if
on
they're
to
doing
the
this
next set of
before they
changes,
send it over to Smite
Whirlwind
2.
is getting that same kind of time to activate as Poseidon, but it's also getting a 2% per tick
Okay.
nerf, which comes out
That's
to
still
12%
actually that's kind of
which is not
OP.
a small nerf by any
I think
means.
that's a buff. I don't think that's a nerf.
That is a lot, but
I think you'll hit
again,
more
cool,
whirlwinds now,
and I
so the
appreciate
damage
that you're
scaling
like,
is
we
irrelevant
want them
because
to feel
0
really good,
damage
and sometimes
to
feeling
actual
really good
damage is a huge buff.
comes with the added benefit of being a little easier to play or being a little
Yeah,
buff.
that-
So being
that
able to look at
whirlwind
that
change
and
is a
say, we
fucking buff.
recognize this is actually a buff, and we're gonna tone it down just a little bit so it's not
Yes.
crazy.
Yes.
Good attention to detail.
The fact that
in
Thoth
my
also got a
humble
slight
opinion
nerf.
as a I don't know everything player. So Ymir is up next, and I always love to see Ymir win. So what's happening with Ymir?
Yeah, this is a fun one because it's we've kind of looked across the board and looked at some of the restrictions on our characters and kind of asked ourselves, right, like, do all these restrictions make sense? And Ymir for a while, I think, being one of the first characters to come out, right, he has these strong both camera and self root restrictions on his 2 and his 3 and his ult I think is also self root. So we kind of looked at maybe just the camera portion and said, could we make the character feel just a bit more fluid if we enabled your camera to move around while you were casting these abilities, right? That means you can follow up, if you freeze or you slightly miss, you can at least follow up with your 2 right afterwards. You can, kind of U-turn. There's a
Is
lot
it
of
so
things
you can
do that I think
pre-aim?
Just
Out of
you
the
don't notice it
animation?
until you get in game and you start experiencing what it's like to have your camera unlocked. But there's a lot of like clunkiness that comes from channeling this ability, not being able to move your camera, and then all of a sudden gaining that control.
I'll be honest,
back.
that's the
It's
kind of
so
stuff
much
I
nicer the
hated
moment you
in
cast it, you're
Predecessor
able
and
to continue
Paragon.
turning your camera and set up your
So-
next command.
Yeah,
I
it's
might
really nice
really
for those,
think
like,
this is bad,
micro
but I'm not sure
adjustments
yet.
that you're making, like in the heat of the moment. Like if I'm like with this change, I can Ymir freeze, and maybe there's someone coming from the side, and I can already move my camera while I'm doing this animation, and then immediately after I'm done, and I'm already aiming.
I don't
for the
think I
right
like
spot.
this.
Whereas before,
It's
I
gonna
had to
feel
wait to get
weird.
out of the
It might be
camera lock,
better,
and now I
but
can just
I
do
don't
it.
think I'm gonna like this.
Yeah, makes sense to me. I'm all for it.
Oh yeah.
So, man, continuing the thematic blocks,
Yeah,
Scotty.
this wasn't on purpose, by the way. This just happened.
It feels like it was on purpose. It was well planned. So we're in the ice still, and we got Scotty to talk about.
So Scotty is getting, again, the basic attack timing change that a lot of other characters have gotten here, but Calder has
can
been
she can
a
jungle!
naughty dog lately. He's been
She can
dying to jungle
jungle!
camps, and due to the way
She can
that
also,
Unleashed camps
do her
work,
own
he
boss
was
as an
aggro
ADC,
to
but she
Unleashed
can
camps,
jungle!
And previously, he was taking 1 pip of health per hit from a jungle camp, so he would just basically die instantly.
Vanish.
to
We're
these.
so
essentially, we are
back,
making
dude.
it so that Calder is kind of going to interact with these jungle camps in the same exact way that he would with lane minions.
Wait,
but
do they do
very
this with
important to
Arachne
note, because
spiders?
we had to make sure that we check this one. It doesn't interact the same way with jungle bosses. He will still take 1 pip of damage per hit from a jungle boss. So no crazy tanking mechanics on Gold Fury, Fire Giant Pyro, whatever it might be. He will still die to that at the same rate. But jungle camps, fixed up. Feels really nice.
Fixed up. Went to the doggy daycare, got some training, is now good to fight those jungle camps.
38 months of
Rock and roll. So
weekends
next
might
up,
have a
not thematic to
problem
ice at
now.
all, Cupid.
Yeah, now we kind of got a little bit of extra action here in terms of we've done a similar change to a lot of other.
I mean,
gods,
that is a quality of life change, but I'm not.
Similar change
You still
that
can't clear.
like revolves around basic attacks, where we want to encourage you to get active with this fight, with this passive. And so when you're actually fighting gods, you're getting stacks twice as fast, and it is very, very important for Cupid to be getting to that max stacks for the stun, for the extra heal, for the extra damage, whatever it might be. We just want to make sure that if you're fighting someone, you're getting rewarded for doing that, and this is a really good way to do that.
Yeah, I think when you get into team fights, you don't have minions around, right? It sometimes gets a little bit harder to stack that passive, and I think this enables you in these team fights to get it back again.
Yes.
Which is really good.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, we can. All right. I found another theme. They're getting looser, but we have people with wings now for Jing Wei up next. So,
Yes, Jing Wei. So Persistent Gust has always had a buff when you knock yourself up.
Yeah.
The problem is that you don't really want to knock yourself up. You don't want to. Even though you can.
All right, I'm already on my Jing Wei train, bro. We're good.
You do go pretty
More
high.
Jing Wei.
You send yourself the same height as enemies. But now, the
Jing
best
Wei's
part
OP.
is that you will be sending yourself a little bit less high
Jing
than you
Wei
send
OP.
enemies or anything of that nature. And the best part is that you still have a decent amount of time to dash. It does decrease the amount of time that you have to dash. That is true. However, there's still plenty of reaction time to this. We had a lot of people test this to make sure that they felt like
Oh yeah,
it was
whenever she
still a
dashes,
very
not as
solid
far.
amount of
Probably
time that they
not.
had to
She
dash
probably
and
still
react to
dashes
it.
the same distance.
And in general, you are getting this buff.
I don't
more
think
often.
dash
You don't feel
distance is based
as
on
bad
height.
Setting it up for yourself to get the buff as well, which is very, very nice.
Yeah, I think there were cases where it could feel like a punishment to have used it, even though it was
Yeah.
like the right thing to do. And I think we wanted
Yeah.
to reduce the frequency of it feeling like a punishment.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and a very inventive way to do it as well, just by changing the height. Yeah, that's just a cool change. So Fafnir up next a little bit.
Oh, we saw this one a lot.
Yeah.
we
This
saw
is
this one a lot.
also I'm super excited about. This is like a huge point of feedback for a lot of people. It's something where when Fafnir leaves
That's
currently in
big.
Smite, there's a bit of
That's
a
big,
lock
'cause
where he's not allowed to
that always
really
made him feel
provide
like
any
dog
extra
shit.
input till the ability finishes fully resolving. And we looked at it and we're like, what if we just turn this off, right? What if we just reset this and make it, nope, the moment you land, you can immediately start chaining into other abilities, other input. You could turn your camera, do all those things while you're jumping. And he immediately, I mean, so much of that sort of like clunkiness.
The first play test, the person that was playing Fafnir immediately went, whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. That feels different. That feels good. And I was honestly like super excited to see people suggesting this on Reddit and on Twitter and things like that, and seeing some of the spoiler changes. So there you go, guys. We got it.
Yeah.
Fafnir
Taken care
is
of.
feeling better.
You love to see it. You love when something just feels better. So Tiamat up next with a little bit of a stance wiggle.
Yeah. So Tiamat is a very interesting character because her 2 stances have 2 very different purposes.
Very different.
And usually what happens is you want to start an
Okay.
upright stance like
this is for timeline?
99% of the time. And starting in the ground stance kind of puts you in a weird spot because it puts your movement ability on cooldown if you want to go back to the upright stance. And so in general, we previously noted that Tiamat had been respawning in whatever stance that she had died in, but if you want to start an upright stance 99% of the time, let's just spawn you an upright stance.
Yeah, I think a Phoenix Siege is a good example of that, right? If you had died in a previous fight and the team was pushing like a Phoenix and you're just now respawning and you started in the sort of ground stance, it might not be the best position. You might not be able to put yourself in the best position to get that damage off.
Yeah.
And then now you have to waste time to go back to upright stance, so you have that range again. So this is just to make it so that she
This
has more
is
viability,
pretty
more
irrelevant
consistency
change,
across
so
all
I
of
don't
these
really
different
care.
situations.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, definitely.
Micro
Bastet
quality of
and
life.
Pounce are next on the list.
Dude, I have been
is the
waiting
key
for
one.
this change for a long time.
Holy
So
fuck.
Bastet,
Alright, Bastet's
sometimes
actually
has a little
fucking
bit of issue
OP.
clearing camps, especially
Bastet
because
is
her
actually
leap
fucking
is one of
back.
the abilities that kind of has this
Soul
persistent
Eater,
effect that you can
this change
really
is
back. So when you're clearing
huge.
a camp, if you want the ability to go
This
on cooldown,
change is
you have to
fucking
fire the leap
huge.
and then leap back.
back,
And it's
yep.
just, it's a big waste of time that you have to do when you're clearing camps, and it
Yeah.
doesn't feel very
Bastet's
good to be able to
back.
do
She
that.
was
So
already good.
Now, when Bastet uses Pounce, she can right-click it to put the ability on cooldown,
Yes,
cancel the ability to
sir.
jump back, and lose her movement speed stim. So all of that goes away, but you do put it on cooldown. So in those situations where
clearing.
you're clearing a camp, you don't really
Yep.
need the movement speed, or you just want to put it on cooldown sooner, you're gonna be able to do that now, and it's felt so nice, dude. It's been great.
We've noticed the players really appreciate that sort of control over when they get to put that thing on cooldown, because then
Yeah.
there's a little bit more micro that they get to gain, a
Yup.
little bit more thought process behind it. So we
Huge.
figured with Bastet, especially because again you had to do that leap back if you wanted to reset it. It just feels so much more nicer to shortcut that and say, okay, I can right click and get back to the state that I want to be in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I couldn't agree more too. That especially with an ability like that, like you said, maybe you just want that forward movement and you want it to hit cooldown, you want it to be up so you can use it to jump again, or if you're about to gank or something, but you're like, I'm locked out until it times out, you know. So that's one of those things that just genuinely feels good. Cool change. So Freya up next. Irradiate's getting a little.
Yes, this is her one. So
Yeah.
very similar change here to Bastet, a little bit different because this ability was not like this before. It was just
Okay.
a buff and then it went on cooldown.
Yeah.
Now
That
it's kind
cooldown
of more in
change
that
is
same
huge.
Bastet style where
The
you use
canceling's
it
weird.
and then it's
I mean,
active,
canceling
active,
isn't
and
that
when it
weird.
turns off, the cooldown starts. So we've adjusted the cooldown to kind of compensate for that change. It's not getting a full switch to the cooldown that was before, because then it would be a very short cooldown.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about this change is that when you use Irradiate and you've got Pulse going at the same time, it changes how your basic attacks function.
Yeah.
Which sometimes you want those AoEs, sometimes you want the extra damage. Now as the Freya player, you have that flexibility to say, okay, I want to go back to my AoEs, or okay, I don't need this anymore. I finished clearing my camps. I can just put it on cooldown and not think about it. And so having this extra, like you were talking about before, micro control just feels so nice for a lot of these characters.
I think there's cases in lane 2 where you might have started with an AoE, then turn on a radiate because something happened, and then they back off, and you're like, okay, I want to go back to the AoE because I still have that timer going, and I want to make sure that I'm hitting the minions, but you don't have that option in the prior system because you'd have to wait for both of them to go on cooldown. So
Yeah.
this way, it gives you control to kind of cycle between them without really changing, again, anything identifying about the way that combo works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, awesome. This next one, I'm very excited
I'm
about.
so happy about this.
This
one.
is
As
amazing.
a
This is
resident Hoonbots
great.
player, Hoonbots and the Sacred Monkey.
This has been one of the most frustrating parts of playing Hoonbats.
Oh my gosh, this is
yeah,
gonna be
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
is that the
Universal.
teleport has sent
This
you
is
places where you didn't
big.
really expect to go, where you didn't want to go
This is
even.
Or it didn't feel like
big.
it was firing off and you're spamming it.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
this
And
is
now
big.
it feels great.
So much better.
So much better, so much better.
Hoonbats
it really
is back too,
kind of night and
boys.
day from what it was before. It's hard to
Hoonbats
kind of
with Soul
describe
Eater?
exactly how it's changed, but believe me, when you feel it, you will understand.
Yeah, I think Mifflin had a good explanation or a good description there, which was it feels like it's doing what you want it to do now.
Yes, exactly.
Which, I mean, it's crazy how a change like that sounds so simple. It just feels like it's doing what you think it should do or what you want it to do.
Bro,
Sounds
bro's
so
called
simple when you
Hoonbats, the
say it.
Mickey Mouse
But, like,
shitter
the
god, because he can't play
implementing and
ADCs.
the
That's
refining of that.
crazy.
So, as one of my favorite junglers or assassins anyway, I'm super excited for that, because that was always the one hold off. Is I'm like, I'm not even gonna try to teleport. I never land where I want to. Like, I've never mastered it, and I feel confident now. So Artemis is up next, and her traps
Yeah.
are getting a little snappier.
Yeah, I think Lermy has like the full details on this, but I think this is one of the examples where I was talking about there's more egregious cases in the game of like timings just not matching. I think
Yeah.
this is one of those cases where you'd see like the full animation and then like maybe, it would feel like a larger delay would happen before you'd see the trap.
Yes,
Yeah.
she would essentially, the animation she does, she kind of like puts out her hand.
Oh, so
Like,
now when you
casting
put
the
it
trap
down, it's
out.
like instant. That's
and then
huge.
she would do the
That's
full
sick.
animation, and then the trap would spawn.
I hate
Whereas,
her
you
trap,
you'd
bro.
think like normally, oh, she's throwing the trap. The trap should be leaving as she's like
Exactly,
mid
yeah.
throw.
Yeah.
But it wasn't doing that. So now it is doing that. And again, it is the smallest
Her
amount.
trap should act as a
possible
ward.
to make it feel like
a
it's
full
matching.
blown ward. She should be able to have 4 of them,
Cool.
but no regular
Just
wards.
love to hear it. Get those traps out more reliably.
Yeah.
So Jean Kui up next.
Yeah, same thing for Zhang here. Very similar lines. This is just we wanted to make sure the actual effect of the damage and the stun were matching that kind of circle that he makes when he uses Book of Demons.
Yeah.
Oh, 'cause it's
So this
delayed.
is just lining it up a
That's
little
nice.
bit better.
Yeah, and it looks like we continue that trend of lining things up a little bit more with Medusa and her acid
Yep.
spray.
This is another very simple one. She was doing
Delayed.
the full like spit animation, and she would again go all the way out.
The
Nothing
game's
would
gonna
happen,
feel
nothing would
weird to
happen, and then
readjust to
she
some of
shoots
these
it.
changes,
So
I'm not gonna
now
lie.
She will shoot it at the time that she's
Like
supposed
I've
to
played
shoot
the
it.
gods this way for so long that
more
they're gonna
fluid
feel
with
off at
acid, I
first.
guess.
Exactly.
So Sylvanas looks like is also getting kind of that timing touch up to the basic attacks and the grasp.
Yes. This is crazy.
This is crazy.
This
Okay.
feels
Crazy.
so
much better.
so much
This is
better for
probably
Braum. And we saw a
massive.
lot of this
Everything on
ability dimension
Sylvanas
too,
is
so we're really
delayed.
glad that we did
Everything,
this
even
one
the
as well
ult.
for this timing pass, because believe me, like as the person getting pulled, because I played as it, against it, and with it, and let me tell you, I think I was playing with J-Mac when it was happening, and J-Mac's reaction when he first hit a pull was so funny. He was like, "Oh my god, like that was insane! That feels so good." And I just love hearing reactions like that from our playtesters,
Yeah.
and it didn't feel very different as an enemy. It looked basically the same, but when you have that kind of reaction, that's
Yeah.
when you know it feels
Yeah,
right.
like,
It's been really
did
awesome.
it.
Yeah, I think that's important to point out, right? We want to make it feel so much better for the person who's playing the character, but we
That's
don't
a
want to increase that
massive
frustration
quality
factor
of
when
life
receiving it,
change.
right?
Yes.
I feel
Like
we've
for a
really hit
god,
that
I already
with a
know
ton
the
of these changes.
exactly how the one in the
that's
autos
super
feel. They're
cool to hear.
super
I mean, as
delayed.
somebody who's played a lot of Sylvanas, that was one of those abilities that I was always like, man, I feel like I never get the timing of this.
Right.
Like, it is such a hard
I'm
ability
sure
to
when they
land
started
without
porting stuff
practice.
over to
And so
Smite
to know
too, they
that
realized how
as the
delayed and
player,
how
it might
wrong
be- it
everything
might be
was
a little more
coded.
intuitive now because the timing lineup is just excites me.
And I'm really glad that so many people talked about Sylvanas and Fafnir and stuff, and because it feels good that we were also recognizing these same things when we were looking across the board. So it feels good that we're already targeting it, especially when people had just started, being a bit more vocal about it. It's nice to be able to like immediately address it.
Yeah, so thank y'all for the feedback, and hopefully a good number of y'all are sitting there like, yes, I said that. That's my change. So last but not least in this quality of life section, Cernunos and his basic attacks and the Bramble Blast.
Yep, same kind of idea. And this is just another character that had this kind of same issue
Yeah.
that we were noticing, and we were like, well, why not fix it? And again,
That'll be nice,
this
too.
is kind of
I'm
to
gonna be
put a
honest.
nice bow at the end here. If you see any of these kind of changes that you think that we should touch up on, please let us know. Give us the
Definitely
feedback.
let us
We want to make sure that we're doing this kind of change for as many characters as we can. And
Big
there are a
changes.
lot of characters, right? And there's a lot of
Big
abilities as well.
changes.
So please be
I like all these
specific
quality
when
life
you
changes.
see these things come up. We want to be able to fix them.
Man, I was trying to do the mental math. 130 gods, at least 4 abilities per, which would be like
It's a lot.
500 something. Like, yeah, that's a lot because there's stand switchers, and man, that made my head hurt. If one of y'all has that number, tweet it at me. It'd be cool to know how many abilities are in the game. But that does it for that section. There's one more very exciting section of God Balance to come, but we're gonna pivot a little bit to the last new event coming with this update, and this event is called the Nether Beasts event. So this is a new one that's coming out with
one
the
cares.
11.3 update.
No
so that's
one
next Tuesday.
cares.
And
No one
it's gonna work
cares.
like a lot of the events that y'all have seen in the past that you might be familiar with. It is a variety of new skins and cosmetics. There's a couple different ways you can purchase through them. There will be a chest, the Nether Beast chest, that you can roll, or you can direct purchase a lot of the stuff from the past. Obtaining any 3 of the Nether Beast event cosmetics will unlock the reward skin for you, which is listed there. It's called Death's Rain Shock, but we'll get there in just a second. We're going to start off with the first of the 3 skins in this, and yes, they're all cross-gen. And this one is called Shadow Sentry Cerberus.
Ooh, yeah, the Shadow line is one of my favorites, and I'm really glad to see it on Cerberus. This looks so cool.
Yeah, I was.
Haven't seen
immediately
these
drawn
types
to,
of
like,
skins
the
before.
spiral core, like right there at the base of the center head, like neck. That's just cool looking. Like,
I
right
just
there on
love the
chest.
kind of like interesting, like animalistic, like masks going on here with each of his heads. I think it's a really neat touch to kind of pivot him a little bit from, being a dog to being some other kind of mysterious forest creature.
Yeah, Cerberus is definitely that's something that Cerberus. I love.
Oh, he's so
turn
fuzzy.
around.
I love like the waving texture. I don't know how to describe it, but like the stuff that's like waving or phasing
Yeah.
out. It's
Yeah,
so nice.
that's true. I can't think of a good word. It's almost like looking at 3D without the glasses, the way
Very
it like, offsets a
ethereal.
little
Yeah.
bit. But no, I was just gonna say that Cerberus has canonically had a lot of really cool, like his skin lines can drag him to a lot of places because there's like the tank, and there's just like changing a 3-headed dog into a bunch of different things is always exciting. And like you said, just taking it from, it's still Cerberus, but it doesn't seem as much like a dog. It really is some kind of shadow beast with a 4th head.
Bro, man, I'm losing my shit.
Chimera
I
thing.
just want
So,
to
anyway,
see the
let's check out
changes.
that Smite
They
2
can do this at the beginning or the
versus
end.
CrossGen.
Oh.
That's so cool looking.
Yeah,
Oh
this
my
just
gosh,
turned
that
out
pink!
so
We've
incredible
never
with
seen
design
that pink
and
before, guys. It's a
saying this, I'll
must-have
show
buy.
The
I would
textures
spend
and
$100 on
the
this skin.
fidelity, just incredible.
I'm gonna buy this
I love
twice.
the
I'm
way
buying it
light's,
on my
like,
alt account
blending
too.
off the chest towards the back.
Yeah.
The way that it's
Yeah.
like fading
It actually
out.
feels like a light source.
Yeah.
Why?
It's so cool.
It's the
Yeah,
same
that-
as
and
the
that's been
other
something,
30
again, if y'all see
versions
the
of this
deep dives, that's
skin.
been
Shut
something
the fuck
that was harped
up.
over when we were talking about FX was the way light reacts in Smite 2. Like you'll be walking by stuff, and if you're emitting light, a lot of times it'll show in the environment. So to see a skin like this and be like, that's emitting light, that's genuinely emitting light, super cool. So next up, Headhunters to Nunos coming at you.
Oh, he's scary.
Yeah, I don't like it. That's
In a
It's
good way,
really
but scary.
It's fleshy. Like that arm is wet. I don't know. I don't like it. It's scary.
Well, he's certainly got the fear factor going on, and you can kind of see in the background there. That's kind of what his boars might be looking like. These little like chainsaw pig
Oh
things.
wow, yeah. I
That's
hadn't
cool.
even picked up. Wow, yeah. Now my question is, did he just break out of that containment pod, or did he hunt something out of it?
I think he seems like he might be making them, right? Because when he turns people into the boars, right? You know, maybe he's making them in
Oh
this
wow,
lab
it's
thing.
a science. That's dark.
He's a scientist.
You just gave some dark lore there. So anyway, cross-gen Smite 2. Let's see how much more horrifying it looks in Smite 2.
Oh yes,
Ooh.
horrifying.
That looks
Oh,
like
and we get to see the other
ass
colors too. That's so sick.
compared to the
Oh,
card
yeah.
art.
Wow, yeah, that's really awesome looking.
Yeah, I love the grit. The
What
detail on the
happened to his
grit
face?
In UE5. That's so
Yeah,
sick.
he definitely feels like a monster you'd run into in one of those like horror shooter games.
Yep.
Like
Yeah, a few
he's
come to
he's
mind.
gonna come in and get you. That's for sure.
Yeah, I like too the like you can see the
Look at the
definite
skin of
area,
him.
like the hybrid between flesh and
Man.
metal. Yeah, between man and machine. So
This does
that
look
is
like an
that,
old
and we have
Paragon skin.
one more
OG
cool skin to
Paragon
talk
skin.
about. This is that reward skin I mentioned. Death's Reign Shock.
Ooh.
Okay, that's cool.
I love
All
it,
right,
dude.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Where do I purchase this? Let me get it right now.
I love the presence on the skin.
There's something about smiles that are menacing that like it's this like really niche
Let's see it in
part
game.
of horror that I'm really
Show me it
into.
in
Like,
game.
when you make a smile make you uncomfortable.
You shouldn't be able
I
to
like
talk
it. I
about the
don't know what it
skin
is.
until I see it in
Can we
game.
talk about the scale of this art as well? You see the little guys?
Just show me in game. It could be epic,
They're
but I need to see it in game.
gigantic death god, and yeah, he certainly will be bringing it. I mean, he's just got to take a pinky and boop,
Yep.
and they're
Boop.
gone.
And 4 pinkies on this one, at least.
Six.
If not,
He's
yes,
got six.
Okay, you're right. I miscounted. So, again, tag yourself in the photo. I'm dude far left on his knees. That's definitely me. I'm paying more homage than anybody, dude. So, all right, let's check out the Smite 2 render of this because you know I can't not.
Okay, that's sick.
That's so
I love
cool.
the weapon.
The weapon
Dude,
is
just the,
dope.
Again, I was talking about
I-
the scale and the art.
I
but
don't
can
care
we talk
about the
the
rest.
scale and the model, just how sick this axe
Instead of a
looks.
third
And
leg, he
like,
has
Chuck is a
2
tall
arms,
Dude.
Yeah.
2
This
extra
This is a
arms.
big axe.
He's
That
a third
is.
and
Also love
fourth
the
arm.
double headpiece going on behind him.
Not really
Yeah.
processing
Yeah.
this one.
Very regal.
And the details of the extra hands too. Like normally you'd be like, oh, it kind of like stands out a little bit, but this just really feels kind of supernatural and creepy, but like in a really cool way.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think for a skin like this, it would be.
That he
it'd
has
be
a
darn
third
shame if
leg
we
for
just
real,
didn't
though.
dive right into Smite 1 and give it the old lookaroo.
Yeah.
So let's check this out in game.
Oh,
Ooh.
oh, you could really see the back
Oh,
arms
wait,
here.
okay,
Back
wait. The
arms
little
are
arms are
nice.
cool.
Dude.
Do
I
they
love
do
the way they
anything?
animate. That's so fun.
The animation is awesome.
It is awesome. The way they like
The auto
flex
is
out.
awesome. What? Okay, so those arms
Really
don't do
horrif-
anything.
It's giving
Oh,
me
he
like
kind of slashes with them too in that third hit.
You should be able to walk backwards and attack people, or attack people behind you.
Crazy.
Those hit effects look so cool.
They're even.
Oh, and the
worth it.
passive with the green. You know, headpiece is coming into use.
That's true. Oh yeah, wow, yeah, it was glowing like that emerald for the passive.
I actually like
the
the
FX
skin.
color just
I like the skin.
stands out so much, but it also fits so well.
Yeah, I'll always be a fan of like the jade, emerald kind of, just that really deep, rich green color.
Yeah.
So
I think the trails and everything too, like off
Yeah,
the
that's
line
chalk.
and the autos look so.
It looks
so
like
cool.
a Shiva
This skin
skin with a weapon.
I love that throw. It's like a flame too that follows it. And again, you know, if you get this skin, it'll be waiting for you in Smite 2. So you get to get in and
I'm not
enjoy
really
what you're
processing the
seeing
arms in the back.
and be horrifying
Don't do
all
anything.
about Smite 1 in the battleground of the god. And then Smite
Wait,
2
does he not
hits,
have arms in his
and you're
front
like, oh,
at
yeah,
all
I'm
then?
gonna play
So
shot.
he has
I'm
no
gonna
extra
do this
front arms.
horrifying 6-armed
He
green
just has 2 arms
monster
behind him
or
with
8
daggers.
Yeah,
They don't do
6
anything.
Man, math is
I mean,
hard
if he
when
looks this
violent.
scary in Smite 1, you can only imagine what it's going to feel like to play him in Smite 2. Or rather, to play against him in Smite 2.
Yeah, so I don't know, I'm pumped about it. So again, this will be the reward
he
skin
has
for
6
another
arms.
Beast event.
Wait, what are his other arms doing in the front?
Next Tuesday, so that's March 19th.
Can't even see 'em.
It's right around the corner. It's crazy how
Show
close-
me
every time,
more
ever since
changes.
they were like,
Show
hey,
me
updates are
more
gonna happen a
changes.
week after the update show. I'm like, that's
Show
awesome.
me
'cause that's
more
less waiting that
changes.
I have to do after talking about it. So make sure you check out this event again. Roll the chest or buy direct, and you will earn your way towards unlocking that shock skin as the reward skin. So super exciting. So now we're back in the land of the balance.
Ooh.
And we're where
Oh, yeah.
if y'all have seen some of the teasers that we sprinkled out on Twitter, I guess those were more leaks than teasers, huh? So some of the leaks that we put out there, then you should be excited for this because again, they were cooking back there and they created some heat. So we're calling these major god balance because a lot of these changes are pretty crazy. But you know, talk about that. What led y'all to cooking this hard?
Yeah, so again, we kind of were examining a lot of characters going, into this transition period between Smite 1 and Smite 2, where Smite 1 still has a lot of really awesome content coming.
Yeah.
Smite 2 is also on the way, and all these characters have got to go to Smite 2 at some point. So we really want to look at the core of each character and say, is there a problem that we can fix with these characters that is making them feel weaker inherently than other characters?
Okay.
Is there something that's more fun, more smooth, that's going to resolve a
fluid.
lot of the clunk, get that fluidity going? Is there any way that we can update them? Is there something that we feel like this character's missing in any way? Or is there just something that will be cool to try and just see what people think about it?
Yeah.
And so a lot of those come down to what these changes kind of are at a base, and we understand that a lot of these are going to be a little bit more intense than the quality of life changes that you're seeing. And again, we are very receptive here to your feedback. We want to know what you guys think, and if
Very
you do
much
think
so.
that these are more fun. And again, to reemphasize, a lot of these changes are as small adjustments as possible to make sure that we can kind of keep it still reined back in. We're not going completely crazy here, and we want to also make sure that it feels fair for the enemies playing against these characters as well as people playing with the characters.
And I think it gives us a lot of valuable information about
You
which of
trying to
these
get extra
adjustments
words
really
on
do
your
move the needle
essay.
to make things feel that
Holy
much better, and which of them maybe
fuck.
don't, right? And then we can kind of learn from that and adjust from there.
And some of these characters as well are 10 plus years old at this point, and it's not like we necessarily want to force change.
Nope.
But where can we make these small adjustments
Show
here and there, or
me!
even just
Fuck!
changes throughout kits, to make characters feel more interesting, to make them more intriguing, make them more fun. That's the number one for us, is fun, and we want to make sure that you guys are having fun. And if you're not, please, again, tell us how you feel about these changes.
Just show it!
And we also are aware that a lot of this will impact the balance of these characters,
Stop
and some of them we have
talking!
taken that into account. So please do as well keep that in mind, as these are changes that will make these characters better. We understand that, and we'll be keeping a very close eye on them going forward, because with the last one we learned a lot of lessons around
Oh
what
my
that change looks like and
God!
how people want us to react
Just
after we do the
fucking
changes.
show me the
We want to make sure
changes.
that this stuff is not tormenting people for patches on patches, right? We want to act swiftly when these things are not feeling
never
right,
stops!
or things are too strong. We want to make sure that, again, you guys
just
are
keeps
having fun. That's
going!
the number one thing, and a lot of these are really, really
Yeah,
fun.
really fun.
Yeah, well, the science of balance at its core is try something, observe it, and write down the results, and that's what y'all are doing. Y'all are being inventive and trying crazy
Come
new things. Just from
on!
what I've seen of this thus far, y'all are really stretching your legs and saying, what can we do to try to make things more enjoyable? So, and of course, we will watch how they land out in the world and record how y'all, the community, react to it. And if y'all are
It
like,
won't
that was
stop!
pretty cool, but like, no,
It
then
won't
we'll be like,
fucking end!
So with all of that said, the wonderful preamble out of the way, let's dive in.
Oh, I'm so excited.
First and foremost, we have ESET.
I mean, this is a big change to
Thank
start off
God.
with.
Yeah, right off the bat.
No, this one I'm really excited for. So the kind of big push here, right, is we've for a long time kind of recognized that a set has at certain points maybe been
Hey,
really
this
strong. I
is
remember
big.
back when I used to scrim, right?
This
there was
is
metas
big.
where we used to You know, it was all about mid pressure and kind of controlling jungle camps. And over time, I think the game has kind of evolved where that's not fully like the most important thing anymore.
Yeah.
And I think where Aset and other characters, where other characters have kind of ebbed and flowed in terms of, you know, strength and weakness. Aset kind of, you know, trended more towards that weakness. And has
one's
kinda, like,
about a pump.
They're not as strong. There's some times where we've, you know, maybe made adjustments that's brought her back into the fray, but she seems to kind of recede after a little bit. And
on the
I
right
think
is
for,
Chaos.
You know, for most people that have played
He
Aset,
is
they
a
probably
world
ask themselves,
champion
you know,
who's been a
what's
dev there
maybe
for
the
like
core
5
issue
years,
that I'm
6
experiencing
years.
with this character. And a lot of time it's been
Maybe
talked about
longer.
Wingust, and Wingust being just a little bit too slow at getting off, you know, the amount of damage it is, or just feeling a little sluggish compared to some
You
other
haven't noticed
abilities.
based on the patch,
So we
he's
looked at
a
that and we
mid
said, you know
laner.
what? Let's try just speeding it up. We've talked about this before. We've tried to maybe do some other things. Maybe this has been the answer, and we should test this. We should see, is this a positive change for her?
Yeah, and we have a video ready as well for you guys to take a look at the change here. So we've changed it to be approximately 25% faster. So this does mean that all 4 projectiles are going to be taking
you were not
25%
dodging
less time
that?
to come out. So you can see on the left,
That
you are
is
doing it a little bit
nice.
faster, but again, this is an adjusted animation.
That
the projectiles
is
are coming
nice.
out
Wait,
at different
this is
times,
what I
and they're very
recommended them to
slightly
do.
faster to also better mimic this movement.
This is what I said to
And
do.
so a very important thing to note here as well, this is kind
I've
of a
been
shift
listening
reset
to it
as
without
well, because
actually
when she uses
telling
this
them.
ability, she's getting movement speed, she's gaining slow immunity, she's getting a couple other things here that she is losing a little bit faster than before, but we believe that the damage trade-off here is going to be very worth it to get all of that damage.
She's
out
back,
25%
boys.
faster.
E-set's coming back.
It's definitely noticeable when you throw it.
They
in
have a list of
comparison
weekend
like
changes.
this.
Yeah, and if it's an
Wow, that
assassin
was really
change,
cool.
they just throw it in the
Right,
trash.
like you said, right off the bat, that's a big change. So
They go through the
super
list. They're
awesome.
like,
So
all
now
right,
we're moving into
non-assassins here,
another
assassins here.
spicy
Throw all
thing.
these away.
This is crazy.
Ever since I learned
I've
about
said that
this
a lot, I
one,
think.
yeah, ever since I learned about this one, I've been hyped to see it go out. So Terra is getting some cool shift.
So Terra is a character that really starts
Level
to unlock
1
around
dash,
that level
no matter
like,
what.
3 area
Yeah.
where you're finally
Your
able to
abilities
get this
are all
dash.
online.
No damage unless you have a point
one
in
thing that's
it.
become very awkward for Terra is that when it comes to balancing her, she
20-second
is just
cooldown without a
very,
point in
very
it.
difficult to get rolling. But once she gets there,
Okay.
she's really, really good.
So they just made it so
And also,
you
she's
can
just
dash
a
at
lot
level
more
1 to
fun.
proc
that
your
was like
shit.
the number one thing that we honed in on is that playing Terra without the dash, you feel like you're kind of working with half.
It's missing something, yeah.
It feels like it's really missing
So
that
now you can
secret
level
spice
your
that, like,
so
blends it all
your
together,
level
you know what I
2
mean? Like,
at level
once
2
you
you'll have your
start
2 and your
to
3.
have this dash, you feel
That's
like
really
a
good
complete
clear.
character again.
Yeah,
And
her-
that was the thing that we
her
were
lane
like,
is
okay,
gonna
we
be
wanna see
really
how this
fucking
feels,
good
number
now.
one, because we were like, okay, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
like, let's talk about that first off.
So clear
but yes,
nuts
so force
early.
of nature is her dash. She now has access to this ability.
Even her
from
level 1
1,
clear
which means
on the
you do not
double
need to
camps
put a
is gonna
point
be
into it.
sick.
But the thing is, if you don't put a point into it, it doesn't do damage, and it has a 20-second cooldown, which is 9 seconds longer than the
Actually,
actual
her level
original
1 clear is
cooldown,
already
11
good.
seconds
I don't know
at
how
this
much
point
that'll
in
change,
time.
but your level 3
The
clear
mana
and
cost
lane's
is
gonna
the
be
same,
level 2 clear
but
and
here's
lane's gonna
the
be
thing.
sick.
We understand that this is going to bump Terra's clear and ability to do all these things well in the early game up a lot, especially those first 2 levels. She's going to have very good pressure. But the thing is, Terra's been kind of MIA for a hot minute here. So we understand that this is going to be a very big shift in terms of how her presence is across the battleground, especially in Conquest, because this doesn't happen in a lot of other modes, right? She didn't have this issue because they start at level 3 and you can just be Terra right away.
Yeah.
And then you also have that trade-off as well. That's a very interesting choice where you can say, maybe I don't put a level in my 1, and now I can kind of put more emphasis into my heal or my stun, or I can get my ult and not really think about it. So you have another kind of choice to make now, which I think is really interesting to do amongst that. But again, you are suffering in that you're not getting the damage
Cardio
from
is
that,
nuts
and
right
it's
now.
a
What the
20-second
fuck?
cooldown. So I mean, 20 seconds for a dash
a
is
long time.
pretty long, but again, it does
Cardio's in,
unlock
like,
her
every
potential,
game right
and
now
that
in
was the
ranked.
number one thing. We want this character to feel like a whole character from minute 1.
Yeah, it really gets the kit mechanics online out of the fountain. So
Exactly.
super cool. Cthulhu is up next, a terror of the mind.
Yes. This one is definitely another crazy one.
This one is crazy.
Every single one. I'm going to say it every time. But Cthulhu is a character that is very kind of methodical.
2 is no
and slow,
longer a
but
channel.
We want to make sure that he's not feeling kind of without
Holy
agency when you play
fuck,
him.
wait, that's
You
huge.
were spending a long time channeling the Mire previously, and now we wanted to kind of see. We this is a test.
Alright, maybe Cthulhu's back.
We were like, okay, what does
Maybe
it
one
feel
of the
like if we
worst-
kind of
worst gods
take
in the
this
game is
down
back.
by quite a lot and let him kind of play the combos? Because one of the
Yeah,
biggest
you
parts
could
of Cthulhu's
legit
kit is
root
being able
somebody
to
into
get
your
off
ult
that
and
full
get
kind of
more
madness
hits off.
combo
Yeah.
to get them up to the number of stacks that you want, then increase your mitigations towards the mid to late game, and it's so
That's a
hard to do that.
really,
It's incredibly
really
hard to do
good
that.
buff.
I think before you feel a lot more restricted because you have to do these
The
things
2
in sort of
sucked.
sequential order.
I'm gonna be
And
real with you, the
now
2 is
we're kind of
ass.
Unlocking, when you
You
can
pretty much
cast in
never
other
hit
things
it
during that ability
'cause you were just
it makes
stuck
it a lot
casting it.
easier to have a lot more choice in the way that you want to engage certain team fights. points, the way you want to play your lane, right?
Yeah,
I
you
think
can
it
clear
just kind
and
of
use your
opens up the
one. Like
character
you
to
two
do
and then use your one
And
and
we
full clear
understand
instantly.
that argument as well, like because people go, okay, well, I play against Cthulhu in lane,
Yep.
I cancel him out of this ability, and then he's got nothing, which doesn't feel very great for a character. But again, we want to make sure that we aren't eliminating the counterplay. You still can cancel this ability if you are, a very savvy player, being able to play against it. And again, you'll get used
I
to
have
it. but
almost as
let's
many
take a look
viewers
at
on
it
YouTube as I
visually
do on
in-game
Twitch
and
right
how
now,
it
by the
looks
way.
and
That's
feels
fucking
to
crazy.
kind of
What is
just illustrate
happening?
this a little bit better. But here is kind of the duration that you'll see and the freedom that you get, bro. It feels
so nice.
It feels like you've unlocked something
That
new.
is-
which
okay.
is it
Yeah.
just
I like
changes
that.
the way that you play this character.
That's how it should have been,
fundamentally,
to be real
and
with
it
you.
has felt like a new character almost. Like I can't even explain to you how different this has made Cthulhu feel and how much more agency I have as the Cthulhu player. And again, we understand that this is a very, very big change, and this could impact a lot of how he is able to participate in team fights and in laning phase. And again, the counterplay argument is something we are very, very inherently aware of. So again, please give this a try. Tell us what you think and how you have enjoyed playing Cthulhu, or if playing Cthulhu has gotten more frustrating. Or playing against Cthulhu has gotten more frustrating, rather. So do keep all those things in mind, but I just can't wait to see what people think when they actually play him and get their hands on him.
Yeah, because like you said before, it was so necessarily sequential. Like
Yes.
there was an order you had to do things in, and if that order gets interrupted,
Bro, we hear
have to
you
back up
guys.
and wait
We
for that order
agree.
to come
Go
back.
next. Like this is a
And
good
you speed it
change.
up. You've
Go
knocked
next.
it out of order. Think you can do things
Go
in different
next.
ways. The combos are changed. So this is going to be another one of those where we pass it out to the community, and y'all go absolutely bananas with it. And we're looking forward to that feedback. So this next one was one of the leaks that we shared is Agni, and y'all got to see how his ult is a little different now, the way you cast it. So let's dive into that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of buzz around this one. I mean, Agni is anybody who's followed.
It's
kind of when I
actually
was
just a
playing
good
Pro back
quality
in the
of
day,
life change, in my opinion.
Agni was definitely
It's
one
a
of my
buff,
favorite
but it's more of a
characters.
quality
We
of
grind
life
this character a lot. And one of the things that I kind of felt
Your
like we was
self
ran into,
peel
and
will be
I
way
mentioned with
better,
other Agni
and
players,
then that
there's a
little bit of
of
range when you're
sort of,
just out of range,
momentum
you won't be
style to
anymore.
This character, right? This character is very fluid in terms of movement, dashing around, doing his combo, and then there's kind of like an abrupt.
Damn, it's almost 5
momentum stop when
o'clock.
You're trying to do some of these really cool things, and we wanted to see again, kind of in this vein of like unlocking fluidity in characters, making characters more fun, making them more exciting. If we just maybe unrestrict that movement a little bit, and again, he's slowed, right? It maybe wasn't clear in the video that we had leaked before, but it's
slowed.
it just slowed movement. Does it make the character feel like while they're doing these sort of combos, it's a lot more fun, right? A lot more engaging. And again, it's that same sort of opposite side of the equation, which is, does it feel frustrating to play against? We ran a ton of internal play
Yes,
tests
we did.
to make sure, can you still punish him when he starts ulting? And again,
This is going to be a
that slow
good
makes it very
PTS
easy
because
to
there's just a
follow up on
ton
him
of
and do
little
all these
things to try.
But I think for the Agni player, there's
If
a
you
lot
play this
new
PTS
excitement
and you
going
don't play something that's
and
been
let's take a
changed,
look
you
at it
should go
again,
fuck
just so
yourself.
for the people that didn't see this before, they can get a chance to see it. And so again,
I
he
see you
is
playing
getting slowed.
Loki
He
on the
can move,
BTS,
though,
I'm gonna
but
fucking
like,
kick you.
Chaos was talking about, it feels night and day for the Agni player to be able to kind of again keep this fluidity, keep this motion that you're doing, and it really feels like you not necessarily like you're playing a different character, like I would say to the level that Cthulhu is, because it really isn't.
I
that
wonder
big
how
of a
this is
change in
gonna
terms of the
truly
actual
feel.
mechanics of the
It might
ability,
feel more
but when
awkward
it comes to
than
your combos
like
and
good
your
at
ability to
first.
kind of feel like you can shift targets.
Because it's
and
really
like
not
you are
changing
focusing on the right
that
thing.
much.
It does feel very, very smooth. And again, like you were talking about, we did a lot of testing and a lot of balance to make sure we were feeling like we were unanimous in where he should be able to walk to, and how
Loki
much he should
skin,
be
fuck
slowed by.
skins.
And we tested a lot of different values, and the value that we're
Found
at
the Loki skin
feels-
in a fucking bot
feels right.
game.
It feels right. And again, we want to make sure that the counterplay argument is still there. And
It
we-
will
we
make
did
hitting your
agree
one
in
stuns off
general
of
that
this way
when we were playing
easier.
against this character,
That's
it
for
did feel
sure.
like he was moving a little bit, but it wasn't something that I could never get used to, or that a lot of our playtesters felt like was impossible to play around. It was just something that had a significantly bigger increase for the Agni player than it had any kind of
Tyler, you're a
decrease
troll.
in ability to counter or increase in frustration for the enemies. And that was the most important thing that we asked every single time. Every single time when a playtest was done, what did you guys think? How did you guys feel? Was this frustrating?
And we're aware, right, that Agni in many ways is viewed kind of maybe at like the central point of balance in certain things. So we're obviously being very careful here. We want to pay very close attention to kind of see how this change, pans out. And I think it's good, especially, to that Smite 2 point, right? Kind of test where these lines really do benefit the game. And maybe those lines are too far, right? But it is good.
These
to
are
still
cool
kind of
up. These
establish
are
that
cool
value 'cause it
changes.
helps us make better.
Because while the game isn't changing too
and
fucking
when you hit
much,
the nail on the
there's a
head,
lot of things that
it's
are going to
all
feel
reward
very
for the people
different.
that like playing that god, and none of the consequences for the people that play against them, like you said. Obviously, there is a difference. You will notice as the opponent, but
Yes,
the
we
more you can
know.
hone
Now
in
show
on
us the
these
next
changes
god.
where as the person playing, it feels amazing, it feels fluid, you love it, and the person that you're playing against doesn't feel immediately like they're being crushed because of the change. It's such a fine line, but y'all have hit it in a lot of places, and like you said, it's a constant thing that's being asked about. I'm sure y'all will let us know as well, and we'll be looking out for that feedback.
Okay.
But
Yes,
Next.
it's
exactly.
it's
Next.
a really cool direction
Next.
to balance in. Is how can
Next.
we make every
Next.
individual experience
Next.
feel as
Next.
good as possible
Next.
while you're playing it,
Next.
and while not
Next.
punishing the people that you're
Next.
playing against.
Exactly. I think
Next.
that's one thing that we really want to
Next.
emphasize is that a lot of people play Smite for the
Next.
gods. And, we can do as much item and balance and number tuning and things like that. But if the god
Next.
doesn't feel fluid to play or fun to
Skip.
play, then people are not going to want to play it. And Agni is a character that is relatively fun to play, but we were like, can we maximize this? Can we make it better?
Next.
Can we improve this experience for people? And again, please let us know how you feel about this change when it comes down to it. But please do give it a try, because honestly, when you feel it out, it feels like
Yeah,
night
that
and night.
that A/B comparison, you immediately recognize it. Yeah.
Rock and roll. So this is one that I'm super excited
What?
for. I'm a Zeus player. Zeus
Why
is
did you
next
just
on the
casually
docket,
say rock and roll?
The shield is getting a little love, and I think
What just
probably the best
happened?
way.
Yeah.
At last.
Yep.
Some might
At
say,
last.
at last.
I think this is a very common request that we've seen. I think Zeus, for the most part, he's come in and out of favor in certain ways. I think
shit.
Conquest has always been a tricky spot for him. I think in the alternate
shit.
game modes, he's definitely like a
Oh,
lot,
fuck.
a little
Wait,
bit more
okay.
easy to play in those situations.
That one
But
change
in
is
Conquest,
nice.
there's always been a
That
little
two
bit of a
change is
struggle in
crazy.
terms of, like, doing that
two
laning
procs a
phase and
charge.
kind of transitioning into the mid and late game, and some of
That
those
alone
things.
is
So we
crazy,
felt
let alone
like
be able to call
kind
it
of
back
looking
and
at
start the
AO2
cooldown
is
early.
a big part of where those frustrations lie.
Yeah.
And one of them is, if you throw out the 2 and it's in a situation where
Technically, you
no
could
longer need
2
to be
just to
there or
put
something like that. You're
the
waiting for it
fucking
to expire
passive on
before
everybody.
it goes on cooldown and all these other things. So the first one that we wanted to do was you can now press 2 to recall the shields back, immediately start your cooldown. It gives you, again, talking about that back
They
step
buff
change, for
Zeus's
example,
items.
it gives you a lot
They
more
buff Zeus's
control
1.
when
They
you
buff
start that
Zeus's
cooldown
2.
and when you kind of,
Zeus's
like,
ult got
watch
buffed like
who's
2
in,
patches
who's
ago.
out. And then the other aspect we were kind of asking ourselves is, can we still, maybe give him a little bit more sense of urgency?
might be
when
back.
Either, he's trying to clear the wave, or when people are coming at him. And we felt like, oh yeah, if you look at the 2, it looks like the 2 should be kind of applying a charge when it lands. So we went ahead and also kind of added that, as it felt like it made the character a lot more
Well, it's a
consistent
tier
in
5
terms of
skin.
getting to those 3 charges.
Coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, making his combo feel like it was actually achievable, and you had
Yep.
more ways to skillfully get to that 3rd charge without needing to kind of get
I mean,
lucky
Zeus
and
probably
really
should
force,
be
like, a
playable.
super hard engagement, which for Zeus is really
But
challenging. a lot of
OP?
times
I hope-
because
I mean,
he
I don't
is
know that
a
it'll be
rather
OP,
mobile
but
character.
these changes
We
are
wanted to
good.
make sure that having some kind of combo potential there did feel good, felt right. And again, we understand that this is another kind of character that does bring frustration.
Look,
on
we
Conquest
get
modes,
that you guys have
but
words to
it did
say
feel like a lot of these
after
changes
every
don't
god,
affect
but
them as much
maybe
because, when
you
Zeus is playing
don't
the
tell
arena, he
us
plays
the
so
words.
differently from Conquest. And this is mostly going to resolve around people that are around the shield, playing near the shield, and backliners far away from it. Not a big deal. But again, it will improve his clear a lot. It will improve his combo potential a lot. So we are keeping a close eye on Zeus in terms of his performance, especially in Conquest, but also in non-Conquest modes, because we want to keep an eye if we need to increase those non-Conquest changes or anything along those lines, or just a general nerf across the board. Because again, we understand a lot of these are buffs for these characters, but we want the character to feel better and more fun, number one.
I think it's worth saying too, right? In terms of consistency, right? If you can make the kit a little bit more consistent, it also becomes easier to balance, right? There's
Yes,
other knobs that we can tune to make the
Yeah.
character, if the character ends up being a little bit too strong from here, we can always tune some knobs to get him back. But the fact that it's more consistent makes it easier to make these sort of adjustments. And that's also the other, side of the coin that we're trying to look for. And we think that this helps us get to that point where it is a bit easier to balance.
And it's not even to say like that it makes the character easier either, right? Because you still have to execute a very specific combo
Oh,
to
for
make
sure.
sure that these kind of situations that you get to 3 charges, or really any of these characters, to that point. So we're hoping that this kind of unlocks a new kind of skill cap for these characters, where you need to play around with these new kind of changes to really be able to min-max how long your shield is out versus how much you need the attack speed and the movement speed stim, or how you place it to actually get all the charges on the wave or the enemy,
Bro,
or combo into your 3 charges.
They're
it is
talking
important to
more
point out, too. If you
after
recall
they
the
show us
shield,
the
right, you
changes
lose
than
the
they are
benefit.
during the
Yes,
changes.
Ends
Right.
the ability.
Yeah, it's the
flat
same
out.
thing as that Bastet thing. So
Yes.
yeah, exactly. Ends the ability.
I look forward to it because I like being able to micromanage my cooldowns.
This is
and
insane.
That's
They
just
gotta
a
they
huge
gotta
thing.
talk to
When
them
you're
about
pushing
this,
lane, you wanna
or
bring it
whoever's
back,
telling them to
your-
do this
your
needs to
SK
stop.
warrior's chilling. Like,
This ain't
I
it.
just like being able to micromanage when my
ain't it.
cooldowns are happening, and that it's just a cool change. I like that. So.
Yeah.
So another one that we leaked out on the
hate having to
Twitterverse
travel
here,
for work.
Odin up next.
5 months
Yes,
later, I finally
surprise,
get to
we
see
didn't
their
leak all of
names.
them. We only got some of them because some of them are a little bit harder to actually see in
Yeah.
practice. So here is the first one. Raven Shout, this is a shield. So this ability has always had this component of it that felt a little strange, where you get bonus damage when the shield's at full health. But that's the thing. It's kind of this binary on-off. You get hit by an archer minion, and you no longer get this benefit anymore. So we tried a couple of things, right? First, we tried shifting the actual threshold that you would get the extra benefit at, and we were like, well, it's not the clearest thing in the world to see. I don't really know as the Odin player, like when I'm hitting these thresholds. So we decided, okay, well, Bird Bomb is the classic combo. It's what every Odin player wants to do. So now you just always get this bonus damage when you Bird Bomb. If you don't get the bonus
This is a
damage,
nice quality of life
on the
change.
shield
It makes hitting the bonus
explosion. And
damage
again, it kinda
easier.
makes it a
Your
little bit more
two
consistent,
can take some damage.
but in a way that's
and
very
still give you
predictable.
bonus
So
when
again,
you
a
want.
lot easier for us to balance and play around.
That's
You're
all they
not
had to
getting
say.
as many of those unpredictable situations where it feels like Odin's randomly doing a lot more damage than before.
Yeah.
Now you always know, I'm getting Bird Bomb, this is going to be doing more damage.
Yeah, I think a common complaint we ran into, and you kind of alluded to with the archers, like if
Now,
you're in
if
the laning
only
phase,
they
you
had
kinda
done
get this,
this
full damage
back when
combo
I
off,
played
and you
Odin
pop your
Season
shield, and
2,
all of a
I
sudden
never would
archer
have 667
One
damage.
auto on you.
This
'cause
was
it
the
decided
problem.
to target you or something. You
This
lose
is why
that
I only
entire
did
extra
600
damage.
damage in the
So we
first
wanted to
18
just
minutes.
Make that more consistent. So
This
you don't
has
have to
changed.
Worry about those
I'm minus
really
700.
weird fringe cases where it completely hurts
Maybe
your
8.
ability to do
Yeah.
what you want to do.
And like you said, the consistency helps us be able, like, it makes it feel better for the player, and it helps us monitor it and say, all right, now that this is consistently happening, we can balance around it more consistently.
Right.
As well.
Exactly.
So,
It only took them
so that was
9
the first
years,
of two
so I can do
changes.
damage.
So then there's
Justice for
Yes,
weekend.
9 years might, and we did actually. This is the one
This
that
is what we
we
leaked.
spoiled on social. So this ability, previous version, used to have 3 charges of it, where you would pulse
Yeah,
once,
the second
pulse twice,
charge was
pulse 3
fucking
times, and each one
stupid.
of those effects had a different kind of sub effect
Yeah.
that you would get depending on the amount of time that you charged for. So the first one, still
This is
exactly
good.
the same. Attack speed buff for yourself and anyone in the range. Exactly. The
These
same.
are- these are
The
good Odin
second one
changes. I don't think they make him OP.
previously
They just
was
make
that
him
you would get
more,
a homing projectile that would automatically
more
hit the
playable.
person that was closest to where you were aiming, which was nice. But a lot of people kind of unanimously agreed that this one was the least, important of the 3, because the third one, of course, is the stun.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, the Odin player wants a stun.
It also had a small window, right? Like the
Yeah.
first one, if you want to get that off, right, you're kind of spam clicking really quickly. The third one, right, you get all the way to the end. You could just wait. That second one was always like in this awkward little spot where it's like most of the time, if you're in a certain engagement or certain situation, you might not even want or get to use it at the timing that you want to.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like issues with that second
Yes.
stage.
Yeah. In terms of really being able to maximize its use, and theoretically, the projectile is something that I'm
Basilisk,
not
are
trying to
you
say,
gonna just
like,
copy paste the
skilled it if you
Reddit
don't hit it, but
build? That's dog
It
shit.
didn't seem like a very cool or powerful effect to be like it's just a guaranteed hit. It's just something that we were seeing as generally undervalued, and like yes, we did see like some people discussing like, oh well, in Axe meta it's really good, but we think that the trade-off that you're going to get for getting the stun faster and getting the damage out more consistently is going to be way better in the instances where you're actually hitting those things,
Yeah.
which cross your fingers you're hitting them, but you'll still be getting those procs assuming that you're hitting them.
Please.
Yeah, so that's a good change. And I mean, who doesn't want to stun more? I'm all for it.
Yes,
And I
and
think-
to clarify just one more thing, because
Please.
I saw some discussion, you will still be able to indefinitely hold it. That was one thing that I saw some people questioning, if you could do that or not. Yes, you can still indefinitely hold it.
So, pocket it, hold it, walk down lane, really be menacing, throw it when you need to.
Yeah, let's just take a look at the video though, because I do want to bring this up so
Yeah,
we
please.
can take a little look at how it actually feels. So here's our attack speed stim like normal, and boom, that's the stun. It's
So,
just
yeah.
it's such a big feels difference when you had that extra bit of like time between the guarantee of like being able to get to that stun and get to the place where you want to be. And it's also nicer that you don't have to channel this in the middle of the wave for that much longer.
Yeah, it tightens up the combo
All
time
right.
a little bit, so you're able
Exactly.
to more reliably.
We've already
more reliably
seen this
combo
on
into that
social
stun if you
media
need to out of a burn
days
bomb or
ago.
something. So
I'm good. I don't need to see it
rock
for
and
20
roll.
minutes.
So
Done.
that is Odin, and yeah, we saw the feedback. We're going to be keeping an eye on it like always. So y'all know that y'all are our favorite. We love when y'all tell us this is great and also terrible. Like we listen to both. We like one of them more, but they're both equally valuable. So now we're away from birds and into spiders.
Oh, yeah.
Arachne and her cocoon.
So Arachne was a member of the previous Spicy Gang, you could say.
Spicy
She
Spider
did
Gang.
get a previous change back, I believe it was in 10.9 around that point.
No! This is a
and
nerf!
That change, we felt like
What
after
are you
reevaluating it after
doing?
a couple patches of it being in the game,
Bro,
it
there's
just
no
felt like it still wasn't
world
hitting
you're
the mark
nerfing
that we had
Arachne
wanted
right
it to
now.
hit, being
And call it, what
a
the
change that we wanted
fuck?
to make to this character. So what we're doing here is kind of a give and a take. The first thing that we're giving Arachne players is now you no longer need to hit consecutive basic attacks to actually get your stun up. Anytime that you hit the number of basic attacks that's required, which we'll get to that in a second,
This is an
you will stun
insane
the
nerf to
character as
Arachne.
long as you still have your stun available.
Yeah.
The attack
Arachne
speed is still
sucks
decoupled, so no
dick.
matter what, even
So
if you
you
use your
saying
stun, you're
Yo's
still keeping
great.
attack
Arachne
speed,
is
but now
ass,
it takes
and you're
3
nerfing her.
successful basic attacks on a
She
single
is
target to stun
fucking
versus 2. We also
trash.
felt like when we did that change previously, it became a lot more frustrating and hard to react to for players against Arachne, and that was one thing that we wanted to keep an eye on. And as we've let it kind of simmer for a couple patches here, we've definitely felt like, especially for making this consistency change, we need to bring that back to 3.
That makes sense, and I like the ability now that you can weave it in, and if something breaks that auto attack
Gosh.
chain, you don't have
Bro,
to worry
we've
about it.
seen
You can
no
circle back, get
jungle
those last couple
changes
auto
outside of
attacks off
Bastet
and sink it
in this entire patch.
even if the chain was interrupted.
Like
So,
items,
rock and roll,
gods, we've only seen
scary.
Bastet be
Jing
more
Qian up
playable.
next with a big face in the chest.
This one might even be one of the craziest ones. Like we were talking about Terra, we were talking about Iset, we were talking about Agni.
Zeus
Bro,
isn't
this
better
change
in the
is
jungle.
crazy.
He's
This
still
change
gonna
is
get
crazy.
shit on by
So we're giving
assassins.
Xing Qian a brand new effect on his passive, and we were kind of observing this character and how he's kind of been a little bit out of the meta. Well, I shouldn't say a little bit because we've given him buff after buff after buff, and it's just not been shown back up. And there's a lot of reasons why that's happening, but his passive we were observing is just kind of a little like non-applicable in a lot of cases where you're just getting some extra HP 5. It's nice, it's extra sustain. It's not really, it doesn't feel like it's really impacting you all that much. And now it wouldn't feel like he's definitely impacting the situation. So we're giving him a brand new effect on Smoldering Rage, where anytime that he gains a stack, he's still doing that same stacking that you did before. Hit enemies, you get stacks up to 12. He gets temporary max health per stack. So he can kind of really lean into this kind of max health, sustain tank ideal almost. He's still keeping the HP 5. And on top of that, because he's keeping the HP 5, a lot of times he was overcapping because of his builds, but now you can do it on purpose because HP 5 is uncapped. You can have as much HP 5 as you want on this character specifically. It's been really, really fun to actually have this character kind of run around with, we've seen like 130 HP 5, 150 HP 5, and it's been a very different and unique way to play a tank, is having this kind of like sustained way where I need to keep hitting my attacks. So I keep
Shintan
getting
is
this
still
HP 5
dying.
back, but I'm just like, I'm tanking by being elusive, hitting enemies, and just still doing what I need to do as a tank, but I'm getting sustained back for doing that as well.
And we've
He's
tried many
gonna be
areas
just
to
as annoying as he
untap
already
some
is. He'll
attributes,
still
and
die the
we've always
same
found it, again,
pace.
a lot of fun. It seems
His
to,
early laning
help
phase
kind
is
of
probably
evolve
gonna be
the game a
more
little bit.
annoying
So
than
I figured,
ever.
HP 5 on a tank, like it kind of makes sense to give this a try, especially with Xing Tian because it fits his theming. So yeah.
Yeah, he is the relentless one, so very relentless.
Very relentless, especially now.
There's also one other cool thing about this. Maximum health, we were kind of looking at the math behind it, where normally anytime, let's say you have, 800 out of 1,000 health or something, right? And then suddenly your max health drops. It looks at what percentage of your health did you have based on your max health, what percentage of your health do you have, and it retains that when you go down in max HP. So if it reduces by max HP and you had 80%, then you retain 80% of the new max HP when you go back, which means you kind of lose some HP anytime max HP wears off or something. So with Xing Tian in particular, we wanted to make sure that he retained the benefit of the max HP that he gained in his current HP. So for example, right, if you, I think if you're at 2,600 out of 2,800, and all of a sudden your max HP drops to 2,600, you'll stay at 2,600 current HP. Whereas normally you would have dropped whatever, if the percent of that was,
It
let's say
won't
90% or
stop
something, you would have
talking
dropped to
after
90%
every
of
fucking
2,600.
change.
Yeah. So essentially,
pretty weird.
yeah, you can reduce the maximum health, and if it's gray health bar, it just moves closer towards the green.
Exactly.
You
Yeah, yeah.
maintain.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, that's a very good clarification. So, all right, rock and roll. So we're down. We have 2 left.
Yep.
And Shiva's up next.
Yes, Shiva. This was a very fun one. I have heard many a complaint and seen many a clip of a Shiva stopping short on a wall, but no longer will that be the case. The first part of Pillar of Dawn previously had a component where you could aim it, and when it came to the interactions with walls, no matter how far away you were pointing it, it would always stop you immediately on the wall whenever you came into collision with it,
Yeah.
which was very frustrating for a lot of Shiva players
didn't-
because you were losing a lot of distance, and I
Yeah.
assume you were about to say it didn't feel very intuitive.
Yeah, it didn't feel natural like compared to a lot of other dashes where you slide against the wall. It didn't. It always seemed weird that you just all of a sudden would stop. when
Yeah,
you went to the
dead
wall.
stop.
Exactly. But we understand that one of the most important parts about Shiva is that he's using this ability kind of as a damage mitigation. Like, let's say there's a Cuckoo ult coming down straight for you. Well, I can hop into Pillar of Dawn and be totally fine. So now that you're kind of forced to be in this longer dash, we wanted to make sure that you weren't losing that damage mitigation part of it. So you are keeping the damage mitigation during the dash part. So now, even though you're forced to kind of take a little bit more time to get into the pillar, you are still
No,
going to
they
get
usually
that
don't
damage
talk
mitigation
like this
immediately
after
on
every
using your
change.
dash.
Yeah, wow.
They're
That's-
saying the
that's
same
huge, like
thing
you said,
in
because
4
that
different
allows you
ways.
to take that
They're
longer
like, we're
dash
stopping him
without
from hitting the wall.
consequences of
We're
not
walling
being
the
able
stop to
avoid
hit
it.
him.
Exactly.
So-
Yeah.
The wall's
Cool.
there,
I mean,
and then you
overall,
don't
it's
stop.
a good thing.
You used to
last
stop,
but
you
not
no longer
least,
stop on the
at the
wall.
end,
Like, bro, we
it's
got it
Athena.
the first
Yes,
fucking
this is
time.
another, recipient
you, that was
of
faster.
a previous spicy change.
Yeah.
And so, especially because
nerfed Athena
post
again.
that change, it's been a bit of a nerf city for Athena. We wanted to make sure that this was kind of a bit of a change that unlocked a new kind of loop
Okay.
in her kit versus strictly making her better. So Athena's like big identity outside of her taunt and global ult, of course, is her block stacks. So although
a
she no
nerf.
longer is getting block stacks,
She can
which
get
inherently means
mitigation
that
stacks
you're
from
no
her
longer
passive, but it
losing
doesn't
any
matter
procs,
because
any like
blocks are better.
Pele ults or anything that of that nature that are enhancing your basic attacks. You're not
a
losing
nerf.
that proc
All
anymore
around
as
the
the
board.
enemy.
Yeah.
You, as the Athena, are instead getting 60% damage mitigation per stack of that preemptive strike that you have. So no longer are you getting block stacks, but you are also going to be able to get these stacks from reach now. So anytime that you're using reach, if you hit a god with it, once per
Easier to
reach,
get
so
your
you can't,
passive
like,
stacks.
multi-stack
Passive
this, but you're
stacks are
hitting
less
a whole
value.
line of gods or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
Every
this
time
is a
you have
nerf.
a reach, you have an opportunity to get a stack of 60% damage mitigation from the next basic attack damage that you take. So again, you
Definitely
are
a
losing
nerf.
something as Athena. You're not keeping these block stacks, which as a character that does take basic attack damage pretty frequently because you're taunting them at you, it does make it a bit difficult for her in that instance. But we think that we are spreading out the love as so much more, and the Athena player herself is also getting this extra little mini game to play. How many mitigation stacks can I get
build
any
them up?
particular time? Because one thing that we were noticing was that she frequently, so her passive meter has the 3 shields on it, which represents the block stacks.
This is
you have.
crazy.
But here's the thing: if you are only getting them from preemptive strike, you're only really often sitting with one if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So giving her more ways to get these stacks, but making them less powerful, felt like a new fun loop that this character could have that's not directly involved around her taunting, which is her kind of bread and butter. We wanted to give her more agency in terms of playing around it in a different way. But again, want to emphasize, Athena's good right now. So we nerfed her as well. Shield Wall is getting a decreased slow from
me.
20 to 15%. This is just kind of another kind
daddy's
of
right
tap in
there.
that direction where we understand Athena's very strong.
Yeah.
We're giving her something new, something fun to play with, but we want to make sure that, we're keeping an eye on her.
Yeah, keep her from being that global powerhouse that
Say
we
hi to
all know
everybody.
she can be. So, wow, that was.
No
I
dinosaurs.
can't believe
a lot.
it.
Smite.
That's it. But
That was a-
that
yeah,
is
that
it.
was a-
Yep.
It's been.
Can you wave? Can
it's
you
been
wave
a
to the
lot.
camera? Say
Y'all
hi.
put a crazy amount of work into that stuff. I just the amount of feedback rounds and talking to people and decisiveness y'all have had to go through, and it was a lot. There are changes in there that would occasionally pop up, once
Can we go
every
down?
couple updates that y'all just did a whole batch of, and it's crazy to see. So I commend you for that. But I also turn again to the community. Like, y'all saw the type of stuff that we're doing, that we're looking at for this update. It's a lot of stuff. It's how can we make things feel better?
so
not
that's
just
it? I'm
balance-wise, but
assuming?
gameplay-wise. So, I would very much like to a call to action, if you will, to say, try these out. Try out the new changes. Let us know how you feel about them after you've tried them
All right.
out. And let us know how your favorite character feels,
That's
Is your
the end of
favorite
this.
character somebody that's been around for
I
a
can't
long time and
anymore.
maybe could benefit from
This patch notes was too long.
100 millisecond nudge in the right.
They're still talking. They're still yapping. All right, there's the patch notes. Mid changes are big. Some of the quality of life changes are big. I don't think you're going to see a lot of the game change at all. I just think gods will start being played more or be a little bit more valuable than they were. So that's where we're at. I'll post this on YouTube if you missed it. I will be on around 7:30 to play on the PTS, assuming it's up. Have a good little couple hours without me.